the moment, and Black Lives Matter is opposed to all wars. But when it comes to Ukrainians coming to this country to escape war, because they have white skin, blue eyes and blonde hair, the borders are open. When it comes to black and brown communities, a comrade from Sudan just came over and spoke to me. When it comes to black and brown communities, they're shutting down the borders. That is state racism. And so we can't just stay at home, stay quietly, and don't make our voices be heard when we're being subjected to the worst kind of government. And the worst thing about this racist, white supremacist government, and listen to me, when I say white supremacist government, don't think that Rishi Sunak being the Prime Minister changes anything. And don't think that evil, wicked woman, Cruella, changes that either. Because you know something, the Tory government is and always has been a government of white supremacy. And Rishi Sunak and his counterpart there are agents of it. They are agents of white supremacy, and that's what their job is. And the worst thing about it is we have a complete lack of opposition. We've got a Keir Starmer that's leading the Labour Party, and he's even worse. He wants to be more racist than the racist Tory party. So when we're talking about getting out the vote in the elections, we really have to consider what are we voting for, because we have to vote in the interest of our communities. And unfortunately, the two main parties are not serving in our interest. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm voting Green. I will not vote for this shower of shit. I will not vote for white supremacy, and I will not vote for racist laws. And if we stay home and we don't take to the streets, and we don't protest, and we don't have these demonstrations, nobody knows there's an opposition. So that's why we're here, and that's why you're here. Thank you for coming in solidarity. Okay. Our first speaker that we just want to get some speakers kicking off now, we've got, is it David York?
Daniel York.
Daniel York. Daniel York is the chair of Equity and Race Equality. Thank you very much for coming. Give him a round of applause, please.
Yeah, I want to speak about the way that the media have colluded, basically, with that kind of white supremacist agenda, the way the dehumanizing language has just come in and come in and come in, the way illegal migrant is now like a figure of speech, and you know, technically it's not legal to call someone an illegal migrant, and you can't be illegal for existing on a lump of rock, which I don't think anyone actually owns. And, you know, simplistic three-word slogans like "stop the boats," never mind the human beings inside those boats, do you know what I mean? And the Home Secretary this week, I saw her like talking about people surreptitiously trying to enter this country on small boats in the sea. There's nothing surreptitious about that, and anyone who thinks it's surreptitious is an unconscionable ghoul, in my opinion. That's just disgusting. Do you know what I mean? These people are desperate. And again, you know, describing the situation in Ukraine as different from that in Sudan. No, the only thing that's different is the colour of their skin. So, you know, it's really nice to see the turnout today. And, you know, just want to say, with all the kind of patience of Asia that my migrant soul possesses, fuck the Tories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much. We're going to do a bit of editing. Because when we make our way down to Downing Street, this is one that I want to feature today. And this is our banner today. And we particularly picked these words because of the Nationalities and Borders Act. It is such a cruel, wicked act. And we want to say the chant. So when I say no human, you're going to say is illegal. You get it? Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay, let's go. No human.
It's illegal.
No human.
It's illegal.
No human.
It's illegal.
No human.
It's illegal.
Listen, I like the noises that you're making today. Thank you very much. Listen, our next speaker, she's no stranger to making noise and disrupting the whole place. We've been working with her very closely, Black Lives Matter, with this next speaker, and we love her dearly. Bhavini Patel, Extinction Rebellion.
You know, it's a pleasure and honor when we unite together. And this is really one of the things that I want to draw your attention to here today. that we are so powerful in our communities. We are so powerful when we unite. And here today, you can see you've got Just Stop Oil, who are the villains of and pariahs of the media. You've got XR, you've got BLM, and you've got all the amazing other black and brown activist groups and communities here. Forget your differences and work in the places where you can unite. Because when we are together, this motherfucking government's out! We do not stand here silently begging for our rights. We are here demanding and taking them. And when we unite in our millions, and God help us, it is going to happen, because when they came for refugees, you didn't speak up, hey, people in this country. When they came for migrants, you don't speak up. When they come for black and brown voices, you don't speak up. Who's going to be left when they come for you? So I'm calling all brothers and sisters, no matter what color, creed you are, take to the streets, because the time is now. And, you know, the police crime sentencing bill, alongside the protest bill, alongside the Nationalities and Borders Act, right? The combination of these wicked, demonising acts that are coming through Parliament, as well as the human rights acts that they're trying to dismantle, right? We are just bodies, black, brown, white bodies to them. Because when the state brings violence, because that's what these laws and acts are for, so they can justify bringing violence to the streets, right, and attack us. So the quicker everybody understands that this is a tool for suppressing freedoms, all of our freedoms, not just any one community, the sooner we can address this goddamn fucking government. And, you know, what I really encourage, because the big one happened at the weekend, 200 plus organisations come together. Bring it together with your communities. Find the differences. There is no person that you cannot unite with and come to the streets with. Because that's what they do. They divide and conquer us. And they've been doing it a long time, so they're very specialist at it, right? But we are smarter, we are braver, we are cleverer than they are. So let's unite and make sure that no one takes our rights away. Thank you.
Can we get a more enthusiastic cheer than that, please? This is the beating. Come on. Thank you very much. Don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. But we're being joined by quite a few people. Yes. We're being joined by quite a few people. Just stay where you are and let them make their way over that side. And we're all going to march. We've been talking about unity and solidarity. Well, this is it in action. Our next speaker, he's like a celebrity in some quarters. He's very well known. I got to big up, you know, one of the leading voices of Stand Up to Racism, and that is Wayman Bennett. And I tell you, when I told him we wanted to do this here today, he's the first one that came through and said, yep, we support you all the way. Big up Wayman for me, please.
I want to say how important it is for us all to be standing here, but why we're standing here. We're standing here for people like Stephen Lawrence, who was murdered by racists. We're standing here for Sarah Everhard, who lost her life at the hands of a policeman. We're standing here because we believe that we want real equality. We're standing here for Samia Begum, and I believe that if Samia Begum had been white, she would not have her citizenship stripped from her, and I believe it was a racist act. And the reason why we have to stand together is because, I don't know if people know, but last week, Giorgia Moroni from Italy was given the red carpet treatment at number 10. Who is Giorgia Moroni? She's somebody who describes herself as a fascist. Now, we're taught all the time that we have to respect, and I do respect, and I want to struggle against it, the murder of mass 12 million people at the hands of the Holocaust. But why would you invite a party that's not indirectly connected with the Holocaust, but directly connected with the Holocaust to number 10, and then tell us lessons about democracy and freedom? And let's be clear about it. We know that the freedom that was won in Italy was won by the partisans when they hanged Mussolini upside down with piano wire. That's where the democracy came from. It did not come from the other people that talked about it. Now, people are looking at us now and saying, why are we protesting? We're protesting because the 2% of people that own the majority of the wealth of our society are continuing to plunder us. And don't tell us they're not doing that. Look at what they're doing to the nurses, what they're doing to the doctors. Do you remember we were told to clap for the NHS? Do you remember that, yeah? And then the next thing we do, we're told to slap them with court cases and various other things. These people are absolute monsters. And we're also told that we should be worried about small boats arriving on the southeast. I'm not worried about the boats, I'm worried about the yachts. You know, the people that made their money by stealing from us, and the PPPs, the yachts and the super yachts that we've got to stop. And I'll make this absolutely clear. We know what racism is used to divide. I want to talk about our sister. When she did BLM, people said that she wasn't standing up for justice. When she mentioned Black Lives Matter, all the stuff that was written about inside the press was completely disgusting, sexist and misogynist. And that's simply for speaking up for justice. And I believe the only way we get this is if we stand together, black and white, united together, LGBT plus, all together in a united way, demanding justice for everybody, for women, for all of us. That's the only way we're going to get justice. We have to stand up and be united. So thank you very much. And I'll stop there.
Yes, that was an excellent speech there, as Yormal Wayman. But you know, you talked about criticism in the British media. I've got one message for the British media. Fuck you. You were not there. You were not there when our people have been killed in police custody. You know what? Well, you weren't there when our people were being deported from this country, and you're not there for us now. So go fuck yourself, British media. Yeah. So our next speaker, and she's made it, and I'm very proud that she said this to me. Oh yeah, I don't know where you are, but make your way to the front, please. She said to me, please make it clear that I'm an independent. I'm so proud of you because of that one thing. And I think we need to have a proper resistance in this country. We need to stop voting for these shithole parties that take our votes for granted. We can't be voting for parties that are supporting racist and white supremacist laws. We cannot be voting for parties that do not recognize the issues in our communities. And until we have the strength to start standing independent candidates up and down the country, we're not going to see any benefits in that place called Parliament. Parliament does not represent us. So we need to start encouraging people. We need more independent candidates. So please put your hands together for an anti-oppression activist and an independent Hoye.
Thank you so much, Delia. I did not mean independent, just to be clear, but I totally agree with you. In terms of a non-partisan way, I just meant I'm here as an independent where I would have stood previously as a representative of an organisation, because things are more complicated than they should be. And that's why I really echo what Bhavini was saying earlier about how it's really very simple. We're here to defend the rights of our fellow neighbours and human beings. We're here to stand in solidarity against a fascist government. And, you know, today I have to be here as an independent anti-oppression campaigner and community worker. But that doesn't dilute my voice at all. I was worried I was going to be late to this protest because this morning I was protesting fascists in the London Borough of Lewisham. They've come out for the third time to bully, heckle and harass trans people and drag queens who are doing a story time for children in Honor Oak. So I was there at 9 a.m. and basically we were being fenced in by the police like animals in a pen. And when we started to push back and try to say to the fascists, give them the welcome that they deserve, the police actually put their hands around the necks of some of my friends and comrades, and they were being really vicious towards us. It's really clear that the only story time for kids that needs to be banned is not that of drag queens reading to children in a pub, but the likes of J.K. Rowling, who's a full transphobe. So, I mean, those are the kind of stories and books that we need to be really kind of calling attention to and accountability for. As well as that, last night I missed this, but I would encourage all of you to go down. It's an exhibition in Goldsmiths University about the New Crossfire. For those of you who don't know, and I'm sure many people here do, the New Crossfire was another fascist arson attack on Yvonne Ruddock's birthday party, and because of that attack, 13 black children died. And what we saw that was in 1981, is that there was a Black People's Day of Action where people from Bristol, Manchester, Liverpool, London, they all came out to protest the disgusting response by the media, government, and it was different days back then, but the Queen stayed silent about the issue. The police were violent on the issue. And so black communities and minoritised communities across the UK rose up. It's so important that we are here, and that, you know, just to paraphrase another brother, because we've been doing this coalition for over a year, 2 years now. I remember him saying, you know, if we're all gathered here, and we don't continue our activism, all this it was a party, and we just came out for the protest itself. No, activism is something that you do every day. It's something that you do in your local communities, and it's so important that we engage by resourcing community organisations, fighting our councils to defend what is most important and dear to us. And just to wrap up by saying, if any of you here are civil servants or like officers or anything, you work a job where you're required to be anti-political, that just to say that does not vacate your responsibility and your duties as human beings. So it's so important that we keep standing up and take this fight where it matters as well, in our workplaces and everywhere else. Solidarity.
Very much, Johan. And just to clarify, the other coalition that we've been working with on this is the Citizens is a Right coalition, and that's a group of us with lots of different groups, black, brown, all coming together and organising together. So a lot of the speakers that you will see here today are from the Citizens is a Right coalition. Thank you. Is anybody here from Coffee Afrique? Because we've got Abdi Hassan that was due to speak. But I'm not worried, because we've got to get someone here today who should mean a lot to our crowd, and especially as we're here fighting against the unjust sentences of 2 activists from Just Stop Oil. And if I just say, Marcus and Morgan, I know them so well, because when we called for solidarity in Edmonton, they came. Not once, but twice. They helped us block the North Circular. Can I get some cheers for that, please? They helped us block the North Circular, and it was an amazing demonstration. And then they came back again a second time to support us and blocked the Edmonton incinerator. So I've got nothing but love in my heart for these 2 brothers. They've basically gone to prison for caring about the government. And sorry, not caring about the government, caring about the planet. And I'm really sorry that happened, but you know what? They are martyrs for this cause. So one of the people that we've got is Marcus's partner, and she came here today, and she's got a song to sing and a speech to say, and I just want you to show her some love. Let's have some love for Holly.
Thank you, everybody. It's very important to me to be here in solidarity with both Just Stop Oil and BLM today, and it was one of the most exciting things I've ever done, blocking the A406 when we were fighting to stop the expansion of the Edmonton incinerator. So, yeah, I'm the partner of Marcus, who, if you don't know, climbed the QE2 bridge in October last year to drop a banner shouting "Just Stop Oil," and to raise the alarm once again to as many people as possible, calling on the government to stop all new gas and oil projects. And he's been in prison for the last 6 months, awaiting trial and sentencing. Just want to make sure I've got the right speech here, sorry. Cool, yeah, got it. When Judge Collery finally sentenced Marcus to 2 years and 7 months and Morgan to 3 years in prison on Friday, he said that their actions were disproportionate. He also said it was not his duty to express any opinion on the cause, but to sentence within the law only. He said Marcus and Morgan felt themselves to be so important that, I quote, "to hell with everyone else." And he looked directly at the news reporters as he said that bit. He said, "These men should be punished for what they did, and their sentence should act as a deterrent to anyone tempted to do anything similar." And finally, he said he had no reason to think that for the last 6 months in prison, Marcus and Morgan were now any less committed to the cause. As if 6 months in prison might have convinced them that climate change isn't happening. I say, shame on you, Judge Collery. A few months before Marcus and Morgan put their bodies and their liberty on the line to try and save everybody from hell, the exact opposite to what this confused judge said, Pakistan experienced the worst flooding the country has ever known. Flooding caused undisputedly by climate change. Over 1,700 people died, and over 600 of those were children. Millions lost their homes, and trillions of pounds were lost to the economy, and the country will never be the same again. That is disruption. And that is just one example of disruption caused by the climate crisis, of people dying right now. And this judge used the word disproportionate. Where is your education, Judge Collery? Where is your history education? Where is your geography education? Where is your science education? And where are your morals, Judge Collery? It is not enough in your position of power and authority just to have an education in the law. Not your duty to express any opinion on the cause. How wrong you are. This is not a cause. This is not a matter of opinion. This is a matter of possible life or death of the entire human species. This is collective suicide. And in not expressing an opinion, I say you are a complicit with a genocidal, ecocidal government. A government which, when the Minister for Climate in Pakistan appealed directly to Britain to stick to their pledges of the Paris Agreement, we ignored her. And well done, Judge Collery. On Friday, you had an ethical choice, and you chose to sit yourself boldly on the wrong side of history. Now I come on to Marcus and Morgan. That's my new name for them. I am, as ever, astounded at their resilience, their generosity, their cheerful spirits, their sense of humour, and their solid moral compasses. I can speak more for Marcus because I speak to him most days and as his partner. And as a good friend said to me recently, the winners here at this point are Chelmsford Prison because they have Marcus. He teaches people songs, he plays chess with them, he listens to everyone's stories, and he stays the most positive and principled person I've ever possibly met. But I say let's not put our energy into anger at their sentences. They wouldn't want that. Of course, sign the petition to help their appeal, and please do donate to their fundraiser to help them when they're released. But Marcus and Morgan are okay, and they knew what they were doing, and they did it to inspire. So, be inspired, not angry. Continue to put your energy into working positively for change, with active hope. Active hope means having a vision for what you want to see and working towards that vision. That's what keeps me going. That's what gets me up in the morning. Not fighting against a system, but working towards a different system. A system that measures growth in well-being over gross domestic product. A system which slows down and moves at a human pace. A system which recognises that people are happier when they're helping other people. A system that works with nature and not against it. The COVID-19 pandemic gave us a dress rehearsal for the climate crisis. As dreadful as it was, we can learn so much from it. Because COVID proved that overnight we could make the changes necessary to save lives. And so now we have to do it again. But this time, it doesn't need to be called lockdown. My idea is let's call it grounding. When we ground ourselves, things become clearer. When we are in touch with the ground itself, we can develop a food system that works for everybody. When aeroplanes and rockets are on the ground, the air is cleaner and fewer people die. I have a vision of grounding, of people waking up and recognising what's important, of a slowing down, like one of Marcus's favourite phrases, life is too short not to take the scenic route. Do you want me to stop? Yeah, okay, let me sing my song. I'll stop. I'll just say, I'm going to leave you with a song, and this is a tribute to the extraordinary musician and campaigner for justice, Nina Simone. I hope she won't mind that I've changed the lyrics to honour my partner, the singer, the climber, the tree protector, the brilliant bonus dad, the wonderful, positive, smiling, barefoot Marcus. Can we just move the piano?
Where do you want the piano?
Right here, if possible. Does it come? Otherwise I'll move it.
No, the cables won't come. The cables won't come. Hit the mic. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realise how long my speech was. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I need to turn the piano on somehow. Can we all hear this? Can you hear the lyrics over the tune? I think you can. My baby don't care for shows. My baby don't care for clothes. My baby just cares for trees. My baby don't care for cars and races. My baby don't care for, oh, he don't care for high-tone places. Oh, Rishi Sunak is not his style. And even Theresa Coffey's smile is something he don't see. My baby don't care who knows it. My baby just cares for bees.
Can I have 12 allies? We need some people to hold banners to cross roads. Can you find me? I've got headphones on, I'm a bit black. So 12 people, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly. Give her another round of applause. That was fantastic. Nice bit of music to get our march on its way. First thing I want to say is, you may have noticed we're joined by a few more people. So I'm going to give full solid. I've never worked with Just Stop War before. So hopefully this is the start of things to come. I'm really delighted that you were able to join us today. This is what we're going to need to solve the issues that we are facing. We need unity and we need solidarity, and this is really a demonstration of that. This is a demonstration of that. So we're going to head off shortly, but before we do, I want to speak to my good comrade for a very long time, Sarah from Women of Colour. Thank you. Round of applause. I don't really need the microphone.
Hello, I think Nina Simone would really love that song. Okay, I have a minute, so I'm going to be very quick and say that, one, we're glad for this coming together of Just Stop Oil and Black Lives Matter. We need a wider movement. Also, we can't forget the people who are in prison, many of whom are people of color, are Muslim people, some are mothers. All our movement is in prison, and we have to have that in mind every day. We were so glad to be on the march and also to hear Morgan speak, because he sounded full of energy and full of fight, and that's what we need. We have to draw on that energy and give it back to people in prison. Okay, we know the police are fast-tracking us into prison, that the system is permeated with racism, discrimination, homophobia, transphobia, and every kind of prejudice and corruption. So when we call out the prison system, we also call out the police. Also, I wanted to just give a call out to the Black Lives Matter movement globally. It's a contribution by people of color to the movement. But that movement can't become an industry. We can't allow people to use the movement as a stepping stone for their personal careers. We're building a grassroots movement to raise all of us. Okay, we were here last week at the Pink Boats demonstration for asylum seekers. And that was an important breakthrough, because people are fleeing from starvation, from climate crisis and war, and are coming to seek safety. And they are people from the global south who have worked for 500 years. Yes. The wealth here was built by our sisters and brothers, our ancestors. Yes. So we are coming to collect, but we're coming to collect also with white working class people who have also been exploited. Yes. We have to do it together as one. The question is, how do we do that? We start with mothers. We start with the global south. Because in the global south, it's mothers who are keeping people alive on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I've got to wrap it up. I will just finish by mentioning what I didn't mention last week, which is we stand with Palestine and with Haiti. There are two places where people are fighting what is basically genocide. So in our movement for the climate, we have to include everybody. And in fact, we all have to be eco-organizers and eco-activists, but we also have to be anti-racist activists and international activists. So together, I believe we can do it. And these movements like this are a start. These comings together are a start. So let's keep it up and let's stay together. Let's stay grounded. Stick with the grassroots. Fight for women and children. No one in prison. And let's put the government in prison instead. Thank you very much.
Okay. We're going to get moving shortly. But you know what? When we walk or march on these streets, we've got to be doing some chanting. And I don't want to hear no like mild-hearted chanting. You've got to do it with your full chest. Do you know what I mean? You've got to shout. You know what I mean? So some of you weren't here, but we've got "No human is illegal" as the head banner. And it's very important to send that message today. So we've got a chant, and it's simply this. When I say "no human," you say "is illegal." You get it? Do you get it? Okay, let's go. No human is illegal. Oh no, it had a bit more chest the first time we did it. It had a bit more oomph. Come on, people. I'm relying on you. Here we go. No human. I like that one. No human. And there's another chant we've got to do, because the name of this demonstration is Shut It Down. And that's what we're aiming to do, and that's what we're going to do in a minute when we start marching down the streets. And we are here for equality. That's what we're here for. We want equality for all. You know, for those who are running from war. I have never been through that. I don't know what it's like to have to escape war in a rubber dinghy. I don't know that. You understand? We're fighting for equality for all. That's what Just Stop Oil is fighting for. That's what XR is fighting for. That's what all the groups here are fighting for. So when I say, and if we don't get it, you say, shut it down. And let me tell you something. I want to hear it with your full chest. Okay? The loudest you can be. We want equality for all. And if we don't get it, if we don't get it, oh, you know what you're doing. Come on, we're ready to leave.
Can I please ask all people of colour to be at the front of the march? It's our day. We're talking about what's happening to us and our communities of origin. So please, with people of colour, really rush up to the front of this march. We're going to show people what's going off, all right?
Good afternoon, all. Wendell Daniel from StreetMic coming to you. Live and direct, live and direct from outside of the Home Office here in Westminster. And in a few moments' time, this protest, which has been joined by many other community groups, will be making its way towards Downing Street. So in a few moments, this protest will be setting off from outside of, well, it's setting off already. Big up!
Refugees are welcome here. 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 Refugees are welcome here.
So if you are just joining StreetMic, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Today there is a lot going on. Down at Westminster, down at Downing Street, there is a Sudanese protest which is currently taking place down there. And also later on this evening, when I leave down here in London, I'll be making my way down towards Ponders End, where there's a jamming for justice. So in Ponders End tonight, we will be live at a jamming for justice event that is taking place in Ponders End Park. So big up, we're off.
It's illegal. No human. It's illegal. No human. It's illegal. No human. It's illegal. No human. No human.
So I've now put my camera on my shoulder and I'm walking my way towards slowly with the protesters, and this will give you a real feel of what it's like to be at the heart of an event. And when I first started doing protests, I video recorded them 4 years ago, soon after George Floyd was murdered, and I used to do stuff with Black Lives Matter every single Sunday through the streets of London. And that's how I got involved with filming protests initially. It was with BLM, and we would go through the streets of London every single Sunday for months. And during that time, we heard some infamous chants like defund the police. But what these guys want is stop deportations. We are making our way now towards number 10 Downing Street, and don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share with your colleagues, your family, the people you hate, and go into the chat. I know many of you will love what you're seeing. I know many of you also will hate the fact that BLM are on the streets. So go into the chat and let your comments. If you dislike what you're seeing, tell us why you dislike it. If you love what you see, have an argument with those who dislike what is going on the streets of London. Big up. Let's go right to the front. Big up, big up.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Big up.
Black Lives Matter!
We're on the streets of London today, and no one can stop us.
Stop deportation! Stop deportation!
Big up. I've no doubt
Stop deportation!
they are watching this in Scotland Yard.
Stop deportation!
I'm actually quite proud I'm doing this today, because when I started 3-4 years ago, I said I wanted to live stream a BLM event, and this is technically the first one I'm doing, walking around the streets of London. And I'm now going to give an opinion. I love what I see, the fact that BLM are on the streets. Do I support what BLM stands for? In principle, yes. They've made many errors, but it doesn't prevent me from covering all nationalities, all races, and it doesn't prevent me from covering and raising awareness where it's necessary. You can say I'm a rebel, and we're now behind the old bill. So this is what it's like to be in the crowds, and as you can see, I'm walking and there's a line, a rope that protects the people. So I'm now going to say hello. See, when I do this, I have to multitask. So I've got a camera on my shoulder. I was going to say hello, but I won't. Big up. And don't forget that sound. Big up StreetMic. So go into the chat and say big up StreetMic.
The people united.
Big up.
I can't hear you. The people united will never be defeated.
They're the Black Lives Matter leaders. I know all of them. Big up.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united.
See, StreetMic is on the streets, bringing you real news, so make sure.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united. The people united will never be defeated. No borders, no nations. No borders, no nations. Stop deportation. 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 No borders, no nations. Stop deportation.
Big up StreetMic. And watch, there's a friend. Big up, let me see your face again. Look in there, look in there. Let people see. Ah! So how you keeping, man?
Good, thanks.
Where have you been for all this time?
On the streets.
Big up. We're also being joined by hundreds from Stop Oil, Don't Stop Oil. Big up. Big up. Big up. Big up. Big up. Don't forget, if you're joining StreetMic for the first time, give me the thumbs up, make your comments down below, share and follow, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is what we do best. We're on the streets, bringing you the best quality, highest quality live stream, no rubbish, no buffering. And we're right in people's faces, just like I am. Big up! I hope you've noticed any event that I'm attend, I'm right in the front. Big up, big up, big up, big up. So we're now going to make our way into the crowd and let you feel what it's actually like to walk around. So this is inside of the crowd, the BLM, where we are now. And for those of you who are watching, sometimes this is an opportunity to learn and to. So we're now passing by Westminster Abbey, and this is the location where King Charles will be crowned next week. So if you have a look and take advantage, that's where the world's press will be when King Charles is crowned next week. So this place is already being prepared for lockdown next week when the King attends the coronation. I wonder what he would say for Black Lives Matter. Big up! Black Lives Matter! Big up! Big up!
Black Lives Matter! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No racism! Police! No justice! Police! I said no whose lives matter? Black Lives Matter! Okay, now whose lives matter? Black Lives Matter! Okay, now whose lives matter? Black Lives Matter! Okay, whose lives matter? Black Lives Matter! Okay, no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! Whose lives matter? Black Lives Matter! 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 Whose lives matter?
So there's So there's Westminster Abbey, where King Charles will be crowned. King Charles III next week. I wonder what Princess Diana, the late Princess Diana, will be saying.
No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! No peace! I said no justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racism! Police! No sexism! Police! No humanity! No
No person is illegal. If you believe in that, join our march. If you support Black Lives Matter, join our march. If we're not doing this together, we're not going to win. No human is illegal. No.
No, you just said no. You say no.
Oh shit. Sorry. I did it all wrong. No human.
It's illegal.
Thank you for saving me.
It's illegal.
No human.
It's illegal. 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 It's illegal.
The white building there is the Supreme Court. So that's the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. Big up! So don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Share and follow. So hit that subscribe button.
illegal. Non-human is 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 illegal. It's 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 illegal. We can get it, shut it down. 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 Shut it down. We can get it, shut it down. We can get it, shut it down.
What background? Stop.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter.
Let me get my picture. Stop.
No justice. No justice. I said no justice. No racism. No sexism. I said no justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. I said no racism. No racism. I said no racism. No sexism. I said no sexism. No sexism. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said no justice. No peace. 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 No racism. Police. I said no racism. Police. We say no racism. Police. We said no racism. Police. No racism. Police. No sexism. Police. No sexism. Police. No sexism. Police. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. I said whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. Police. I said 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 racist. Police. I said
Big up StreetMic. So we're outside of the gates, nearly of Downing Street. We're just in Bridge Street, and there is William Churchill. Black. Let's see what the police. Let's get a nice shot with the police. Big up, big up. So for those of you who are watching, my name is Wendell Daniel and welcome to StreetMic. And we are on the streets with Black Lives Matter today. The centre of London is locked down all around Westminster. Look at that shot. Big up! And don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, give it a thumbs up. Make your comments down below. Share and follow. Big up! So we are 5 minutes away from number 10 Downing Street, where there is also a Sudanese protest taking place. So we're going to clash with the Sudanese protest, which is also taking place outside of the gates of number 10 Downing Street. What are you going to do? Stop them here?
But they said they were going to Trafalgar Square.
Aye, they're not. That's their end. Because I'm meant to cover that as well.
That's their end.
Yes. That's where they're not going Trafalgar Square. I got all their stuff. I started off covering 4 years ago the Sudanese, and I went to Sudan as well.
Oh, so is this a Sudanese demonstration?
That's a Sudanese demonstration. It's at 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock outside Downing Street. So they're now going to sit down in the road. So good afternoon all, Wendell Denham from StreetMic coming to you live and direct with Black Lives Matter down here in Whitehall. And as you can see, there's a lot going on in London today. Just 100 yards away from me, we've got a protest with the Sudanese community, which I warned you about, and I said it was taking place. I should have been covering that as well, but there's no way that could happen. That started today at 1 o'clock, and it's due to be outside of Downing Street until 5 p.m. So that's the Sudanese protest. But so we are now by the Cabinet War Rooms, and this BLM protest joined by Don't Stop Oil or Stop Oil, whatever they're called. Let's listen to them.
That's right. Oh my God, you got that one quick. Oh my God. Okay, if we ain't getting no justice, I said if we ain't getting no justice, okay, no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. And if we don't get it, okay, better. Okay, before I bring up some speakers, because you know what? Everybody decided to come out today to express how much they hate this racist Tory government. If you hate the racist Tory government, make some noise! So, before we bring in some speakers up here, because we're just like that, we're just rebels like that, we're going to say one more chat about who's been leading this demonstration today. So I'm going to ask the question, whose lives matter? That's right, whose lives matter? I said now, whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Okay now, whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? No justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said if we ain't getting no justice. That's right. If we ain't getting no justice. Okay, if we ain't getting no justice. Okay, if we ain't getting no justice. Okay, no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I want to thank everybody for coming out on this it's a nice day for a protest. I picked this weather especially for you guys, by the way. But thank you again. I'm Delia Mattis I'm very proud activist from Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to big up some other Black Lives Matter groups here today. I've got to big up BLM London, make some noise. I've got to big up BLM Midlands, make some noise. I've got to big up Friend Pratt UK, make some noise. I've just got to big up the whole Black Lives Matter movement, so make some noise. Thank you very much. Listen, we came here today in unity. Groups have never worked together before. Come together on a common cause that we've got an absolute fascist, white supremacist Tory government. They don't care about black people's needs. They don't care about brown people's needs. They don't care if we live or we die. And that's, you know, they've shown an example of that, how they have a dislike for people who fight for our planet. We want climate change. We have to fight. We have to march on the streets for the right to breathe clean air. Can you imagine? Can you imagine we're protesting for the right to breathe clean air? And we've had two of our activists who are so committed to the cause, did a demonstration, and the racist, fascist state decided to imprison them for some unjust sentences. So we've got a speaker from the group named Just Stop Oil. And if you can make your way to the front, because I don't really know what your name is. The speaker from Just Stop Oil, I can see one person coming through. Oh, here we go. All right, let's give a warm welcome to our Just Stop Oil activist whose name is
Louise. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Louise. I'm 24 years old and I am part of the Just Stop Oil coalition of ordinary people demanding an end to all new oil and gas licenses in the UK. In other words, an end to fossil-fueled murder, an end to genocide against those already facing starvation, floods and war over scarce resources in the global south. An end to the murder of my entire generation, who now may not live till old age because of the climate crisis. An end to the murder of people of colour, women, disabled people, LGBTQIA+ people and working class people who already suffer most in society and will thus suffer most when society breaks down. We all know why we're here today. Because our government is so scared by the power of ordinary people, scared by our power, that they feel the need to try and scare us, punish us, even imprison us. I was sent to prison. Last November, I climbed a gantry above the M25, caused a bit of traffic, and was remanded to Bronzefield Prison for 8 days. I am not a criminal. There are currently 8 political prisoners in the UK right now. And just 1 week ago, our friends Marcus and Morgan were sentenced to 2 years, 7 months and 3 years respectively in prison for non-violently fighting for a future, for our lives. They climbed the QE2 bridge in an act of self-defence against this genocidal government who continue to accelerate us towards climate disaster, civilizational collapse and human extinction. 3 years in prison. That's the entire length of time I spent at university. It's funny, isn't it? How there's enough space in the prisons for climate activists, but there's not enough space for rapists, with over 99% walking free. It's funny how there's enough space in the prisons for grandmothers who simply say the words climate crisis or insulation during their court trials. But there's not enough space for the ministers in government who are killing their grandchildren. Isn't it funny how there's enough space in the prisons for asylum seekers and refugees, but there's not enough space for Suella Braverman, who endangers their lives by sending them to Rwanda or back to countries where they face torture and murder? Isn't it funny how there's enough space in the prisons for black people who set fire to a joint, but But there's not enough space for the white people who set fire to the Amazon rainforest and entire communities of indigenous people. Isn't it funny how there's enough space in the prisons for Asian people who shoplift a bit of food, but there's not enough space for the fossil fuel executives who are stealing our entire food supply and food security, who are starving those in the Horn of Africa and in Madagascar? Isn't it funny how there's enough space even in the graveyard for Chris Carver for simply existing, but there's not enough space even in the courts for the Metropolitan Police officer who killed him, who still hasn't even been fucking charged. Isn't it funny? But do you know what's even funnier? The fact they think this is going to stop us. The fact they think this is going to defeat us, disempower us, crush us. Well, they're wrong. As long as Rishi Sunak, Suella Braverman and their criminal companions in this government violate our rights, we will fight for them. As long as they condemn us to imprisonment and death, we will fight for freedom and life. As long as they try to scare us, we will be unafraid. In an act of defiance, against this murderous, nearing on fascist government, thousands of people will be exercising their legal, democratic and human right to protest by slow marching every day in London for the next 3 months and more, until our demand is met. Our government are trying to make this illegal. They're giving police new powers to try and stop us, but they can't stop us. They won't stop us. Marcus and Morgan do not want your sympathy, they want your action. So please join us at the end of this rally to hear more about how you can stand up against this genocide and just stop oil.
Thank you very much for that excellent, can't speak now, for that excellent contribution. Thank you so much. I've got to make some noise here for my comrade and my dear, dear friend that's travelled here from the Midlands. They have a new BLM Midlands group. Please celebrate them with me and make some noise for Camilla.
Hi everybody, what a gorgeous day it is to protest, to tell our government we don't want you no more and you need to fuck off now. We've had enough.
Big up.
We've had enough of you.
Big up.
Yeah? You're too racist for us, you're too fascist for us. We don't want you. Get out. That's why we're here today. That is why we're all here today. We've had enough. So yes, we formed Black Lives Matter Midlands. As you know, there's issues all up and down the country. And we're fighting for our human rights. The government wants to strip us of our rights to protest. They want to strip us to protest for injustices that are up and down the country. My Black Lives Matter and my other comrades matter. My allies matter. Yes? Everybody matters. Because when we unite, we are stronger. We are powerful. This racist government knows that. Do not let them succeed. They need to come out of office. They need to come out of Parliament. They're no good for us. In the Midlands over the last year, there were over 8,000 offences committed in our area, and that up to the month of March this year. And we believed, and well, we know, they are to be aggravated, motivated by either racism or religious intolerance. That's 50% higher, over 50% higher on the previous year, a 98% increase on pre-COVID figures alone. Is also the highest number on record and more than treble the amount of crimes recorded a decade ago. Now, Birmingham, the ethnics, I refuse to say minority because we're not a minority. Yeah, we're not no minority. Stop calling us black minority, ethnic minority. Where we come from, we're no minority. Don't call us that. Yes? Don't call us that. In Birmingham, we are the majority. By 52%, we are the majority. Yes, we are the majority. And the more we grow, the more we unite each other. We can't let this government divide us. We can't let this government divide us. And you see this Cruella woman? You see this Cruella? Yes? That likes to spout the hateful rhetoric, calling refugees invaders, using that kind of language, and that we must protect, they must protect our borders. Yeah? Giving permission for the far right to target and brutalise the black and brown community in the streets and our homes. And even when we leave our places of worship, there have been several incidences in Birmingham lately where people are leaving their mosques and getting attacked. 73-year-old man was attacked by leaving when he left the mosque. It's disgusting. Our people are suffering, and all over the UK and in the Midlands, hate crime has risen more than anywhere else in the country. And Birmingham, like I said, is one of the most diverse countries, or cities, shall I say, in the UK. We have a track record, and the UK has a track record of enticing black people, brown people, to what they call the motherland. In time of crisis, we come and help them. We're the backbone of this bloody country. And when they then see fit, they feel they want to dash us back to our origins of birth. No, you can't do that. We built this country. We helped make this country great. Without us, UK is nothing. They need to hear that. The UK is nothing. The UK is absolutely nothing. We need to be able to fight, especially regards this public order bill. It's been passed, and where I saw on Twitter, they said it brings penalties to guerrilla tactics. Does this look like guerrilla tactics to you? This ain't guerrilla tactics. This is us championing our right to say what's wrong, to call out what's wrong. The government is making us suffer. We're living in more poverty than ever. The working class, they want to keep us the working class. They want to keep us forking out money for their bloody mistakes. They're spending our tax money on their riches. We don't want that no more. We don't want no racist government no more. We need to call them out, which is why it's important. Yes, fuck the Tories. Which is why, come when it's time to vote, you need to be choosy who you vote for. Not even the Labour government. Not even the Labour government is working for the working class, for the majority anymore. Yes? So you've got to be very choosy who you vote for, because we need them Tories out. We want them out. Out, 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 out. Thank you ever so much, everybody. Thank you for your time.
Listen, it's up to you. We're in the heart of Downing Street. Parliament's round the corner. I respect democracy, so I'm calling a vote. So, we can either stay here. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. You've had a bit of a rest. And we can either stay here and hear all of the speeches, or our comrades over there, from Iran and other countries as well, have said if we want to march through them and go up to Trafalgar Square, they're going to step aside. Now, so I'm asking, it's up to you at the end of the day. I'm saying I would love to do it, but it depends on how you feel. So we're going to have a vote. We're going to have a vote. All in favour of staying here, put your hand up. There's like 3 people. Okay, 5. Okay then, let me put this away. Okay, all in favour of marching through, joining with our comrades for a second, and then carrying on to Trafalgar. Oh, come on now. My hand's up as well. What are you voting for? Yeah, she's voting. Yeah. Okay, we're not going all the way to Trafalgar Square. We're going to sit in the road.
It's boxed off. I saw it this morning.
Okay, we're going to march through our comrades there and go over to the other side of them, because I don't want to waste this beautiful day. But do you want to speak? Oh, I was going to call Vanda, but she said, no, let's march. So everybody get up, you've had your rest. Let's get the drums banging. We're not going all the way, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's Iranian.
Oh, that's Iranian and Sudanese. That's Iranian. I'm Sudanese.
Stay.
So let me get this straight. This is not the people who are fighting in Iran. These are the people who are against the fighting.
Sorry about this. There's a big debate going on over here.
Sorry.
I've got to make an executive decision. I'd love to keep marching, and I'm so sorry. But you know what? We cannot put our Muslim brothers and sisters in danger. And that's what potentially could happen if we march through the crowd ahead. We're here for solidarity, and we have to have solidarity for every group that's here. So we don't put you in danger, and we don't start it kicking off and fighting up there. Because you know whose face is going to be on the front page of the right-wing press? It's going to be black faces. So you know what? We're going to keep on our speeches here. We're going to keep people safe. And we're going to give a big round welcome, a very, very loud welcome to our next speaker, which is Vanda, and she's the CEO of Black Equity Organisations, and she's going to explain what that is. Welcome. Can we have some cheers, please?
Thanks, everybody. And much as we'd like to march, we've got to be really conscious of what we're doing further on and our brothers and sisters there. So really happy that decision was made. I'm Vanda. I'm CEO at the Black Equity Organisation, which is a relatively new organisation. We've been going for about a year. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we can support and underpin all of our black communities so that we can all come together. Just like this meeting here, just like this march, we need those strength in numbers. And all of the good work that's been going on for decades and decades and centuries and way past our lifespans has to come together at this moment, because this is our moment. And what we're hearing from black communities is we are willing to come together now. We are starting to come together because this thing is bigger than any of our organisations. This fight is a fight for our survival. It's a fight for us to survive the winter. It's a fight for our kids not to get excluded from schools. It's a fight for our health because we're dying at an earlier age and we've got comorbidities and we're not getting the health care and the support that we need. So this is a very fight for our survival. Inequality is the biggest matter, along with climate change, that we are facing in our lifetimes. And those things go together. Make no mistake that over COVID, the billionaires became richer. The millionaires became richer. We lost our health. We lost our loved ones. And we lost our income as well. So make no mistake, this is all about the economics. And who is at the bottom? Who are the communities at the bottom? It's us. We built, as the sister said, we built this country. We built this country off the back of our ancestors who were slaves. My ancestors were slaves in Barbados. And up until 2015, I was paying with my taxes to compensate those people who owned my ancestors. That is a level of wickedness and evilness and sickness that we really can't take. But I want to take you back to another issue. And that's the issue of our elders and our Windrush generation. They have been treated in the most disgraceful way. They are fighting for compensation. Many of them lost their livelihoods for 10 years. They had no recourse to public funds. They got into debt. Their health went. They were contemplating suicide. These are our elders who came over to rebuild this country after the war and who fought for this country during the war. And this is how they're treated. The last time I walked down the street was a couple of weeks ago with Windrush survivors. And we went to Downing Street and we gave in a petition to the Prime Minister. I don't know if you bothered to read it, but, you know, we haven't had an answer yet. But what we also did was we started a judicial review against the Home Secretary. I want to hear that louder. Because the Home Secretary reneged on 3 important promises that were made to the Windrush survivors. If we have ministers reneging on their promises, then it's not just about us and Windrush, it's about everybody. If the government says it's going to do something and doesn't do it, then that's got implications for all of us. So we need to stand together, and we need to support each other, and we need to continue this unity, because we're at the beginning of this fight yet again. And we need to carry on, and we need to make sure that we are getting people out at the election. And we need to make sure that the parties are taking notice, because in numbers, we can make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vanda. I'm so happy that you're here. You know, Black Equity Organisation is very important for black communities. And also often we've seen these communities spring up and they forget about the grassroots. And Vanda's only been in her position for 1 month. And in her first month, she's been on the streets marching with us. And that's just a testament to that organisation and how we intend to work with them going forward. Thank you very much. I'm very happy that Hackney Cop Watch turned up today because, you know, they are doing some amazing actions and they are holding the police to account because of their racism and their white supremacy. And the last time I joined them was in December. They had a film show and I didn't know what to expect. When I got there, they were actually screening the film on the police station. Big up Hackney Cop Watch.
Thank you. I want to shout out, first of all, BLM for bringing us here together. So yeah, as you said, I'm here from Hackney Cop Watch. I want to talk a bit about how communities have come together both in the past, now, and in the future to resist the violence of the state and the police every day. Of course, I stand here on the shoulders of the many people in this country who have fought against state racism in all its forms. Groups like Black Lives Matter were started by black people because they are at the sharpest end of police violence every day. And many groups, I'm thinking of groups like Tottenham Rights, Hackney Community Defence Association, they were started by local communities who knew that they need to show up for their neighbours to challenge policing and racial oppression. People who knew that their lives and their communities were more valuable than the state could ever understand. So, with these bills, in many ways, the government is up to its old tricks. Once again, the government is trying to divide us by acting as if the forms of protest, as if the way we protest doesn't really count. But the thing is, the way that we choose to resist violence, we don't have to follow their script. They're trying to push through a racist, anti-democratic and fascist laws because that is what they know best. And those laws will be enforced by police with racist, anti-democratic and fascist powers because that is what the police do best. We have seen, for example, the targeting of delivery drivers for immigration checks and arrests. And those racist tactics are the same tactics that are used against black and brown people on the streets every day. All of this has been resisted before and will be fought against again. We are most powerful when we come together in the streets, in workplaces, in neighbourhoods, build solidarity and take action for ourselves. When we show up for each other, to express our grief, our anger, and make better lives for ourselves on our own terms. We've seen it, we've seen hundreds of people come together from Hackney and Dalston to Peckham last year, where hundreds of people came together to physically block immigration bans and prevent deportations themselves. I want to end by speaking to the power of mass mobilisation and collective resistance. Because it takes courage. It means that we all need to be brave and to do what we think is right and show up for each other when we're literally fighting for our lives. But it also brings collective bonds of togetherness that happen when a community works together. Because we know that there's a better life for us than what we're promised by this government. Yeah. Our communities have always worked together to resist state violence, and that won't change with these laws.
Thank you very much to Hackney Cop Watch, doing some very, very important work. They've got to hold Babylon to account. You understand? We've got to hold Babylon to account. And right now we are in the heart of Babylon, so we have to keep our eye on them. That's why we've got Hackney Cop Watch here, to keep an eye on dirty Babylon. Okay. So our next speaker, oh, this is a lively one. We've got Shabir Laka from Stop the War. Make some noise!
Thank you, Delia, and thank you everyone for coming here today. One of the things that these new laws are trying to do is to stop us from protesting with too much noise. Now, the hat that I'm wearing, the word on it is Swahili for noise, so let me hear you make some noise! There's a reason that the Tories have passed the Public Order Act, the Police and Crime Act, the Spy Cops Act. The reason that they took nurses to court last week is because they're terrified of you. They are terrified of us. They are pushing the minimum service bill to strengthen anti-trade union legislation because they are rightly shitting themselves about workers striking. They know the power of protest. They know the power of strikes. They know that when we come together and we organize and we mobilize, we have the power to shut shit down and to bring them down and end their reign of terror. It's because of the murderers in that building in number 10 that 150,000 people have died because of austerity. It's because of them that the bodies piled high, in the words of Boris Johnson, during the pandemic. And yesterday was International Workers' Memorial Day, and we remember Belly Mujinga. We remember the health workers. We remember the transport workers, the Elizabeth Line workers who died because of their negligence. It's because of them that we have 500 people dying unnecessarily every week in the NHS. It's because of their unconditional support for Israel that they can murder 100 Palestinians in the last 4 months alone. It's because they have stopped peace negotiations at every opportunity and keep pumping weapons into Ukraine that the war continues to spiral out of control. The blood of the Ukrainian people is on their hands. It's because of them that our wages are kept low, that millions are using food banks, that people are dying in their homes from hypothermia because they can't afford to pay their energy bills, that 72 people were killed in Grenfell because they didn't have money for non-flammable cladding. And we know in all of this that it is always black and brown people who are disproportionately affected because that's how systemic racism works. And meanwhile, you have Baroness what's-her-name on her yacht, you have Matt Hancock's neighbour, you have Rishi Sunak's wife, the billionaires and the arms dealers, all profiting off of our backs. We have Charles III, who's going to be coronated on his gold throne, paid for by us. Our lives are expendable for their profits. But I'll go back to where I started, because this government is divided and weak. It has no answers to the crisis that it's created. Its corruption and crimes are open for everyone to see, and they are terrified of our anger. That's why they're passing the laws that they're passing. That's why they passed the Nationality and Borders Act, and they're trying to do the illegal migration bill, because they want to scapegoat refugees. They want to let them drown in the Channel, lock them up in detention centres, and fulfill Suella Braverman's dream of deporting them to Rwanda to divide us and blame others instead of them. We have to confront their divisive rhetoric. their anti-democratic laws. It's us against the state. The courts are not on our side. The cops are not on our side. Keir Starmer's not on our side. Parliament is not on our side. It's up to us to fight and to win. And they're right. They're right to be scared, because we are going to stay united. We are going to defend refugees. We are going to be out with the nurses on Monday and the teachers on Tuesday. We are going to support every strike and build every picket line. We are going to keep taking to the streets and fight against their warmongering, their imperialism, against their assault on working people and their destruction of the climate. We are going to defeat their laws. And when Suella Braverman says that we can't chant for Palestine, we're going to be louder and clear. I want you to say with me, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And we will be out on the 13th of May for the Nakba Day demonstration for Palestine. And we will keep coming out. We will keep coming out and taking the streets until we bring them and their racist, exploitative, planet-destroying system that they defend down. Our lives depend on it. Solidarity.
Thank you, Shabir. That was a very, very powerful speech. Give him another round of applause. We've got another speaker here. I've never actually heard him speaking publicly, so no pressure, Israel. No pressure, but all I'm saying is it better be good. We've got Israel from Novo, who's always at the demonstration. I see him at everything, always supporting, so I'm really happy to be here with him today. Thank you very much. Give him a warm welcome.
We know that all the things that you're here for today are linked. The oppression of Palestinian people is linked to the oppression of black people here in the United Kingdom, which is linked to the oppression of Muslims in the United Kingdom, which is linked to a government that wants to sponsor new oil and gas licenses, even as people suffer from drought, even as people suffer from dehydration, even as people suffer from the consequences of a system that puts profit before people and puts their own interests before human beings. That's why every single one of you is out here today. It doesn't matter whether or not you came because you're black and you support black people's rights. I hope you do. It doesn't matter if you're here because you're against the climate crisis. What matters is that we're all in this together. That indeed there is more that connects us, more that binds us than what separates us. And we know that there is a government that is very, very interested in playing a game based on what divides us. We know that there's a government very interested in trying to pit one person against another. Transgender people against lesbians. Black people against Muslims. Jewish people against Palestinians. But we're going to say we're not going to have it anymore. We're here to say no more. We're here to say no more because we recognize that the basis of any movement is empathy. The basis of any movement is that you look from your left to your right and you see another human being, you see another person, you see another sentient life, and you recognize that in that person is just a little bit of you. Now, we're here specifically to protest against three pieces of legislation: the Police Crime and Courts and Sentencing Act, the Illegal Migration Bill, and the Public Order Bill. Now, these three bills seek to try and categorize and attack three different groups of people. The forgotten. The people who, because of desperation, have to feel like they need to steal baby formula from shops that is tied down because, for whatever reason, we live in a world where being able to care for another person is more expensive than pollution. Where caring for other people is more expensive than being racist. Where caring for other people is more dangerous than coming out on the streets and expressing your opinion and your democratic right to be who you are. So we're going to resist that. And that means that we use all the tools, because the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. That means that each and every tool that we use, whether it's direct action, whether it's voting, whether it's protest, whether it's petitions, I don't really care that much about your tactics. What I care about is that you unite. That Animal Rising must be spoken of in the same vein as Just Stop Oil. That Just Stop Oil must be spoken in the same vein as Black Lives Matter. And that when we all come together, not one single force, not one single person, not one single entity can break you. So to wrap up now, I just want to say to anybody who hears this, Please join an organization. Please join other people doing the work, being in the community, working together. Because sometimes some people decide that what they're doing is more important than what the people are doing. Sometimes a certain section of the populace decide that their interests are more important than everybody else's interests. But this demonstrates that all our interests together is what makes the difference. All of us together is what makes the difference. So please be encouraged. Please continue to come out and fight, because until there is no injustice, we will continue. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let's get some chanting going on. Whose lives matter? We've got to be louder than that music that's going on there. So I need you to start with your chest again. Whose lives matter? I said no. Whose lives matter? No justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. You know, when I was supposed to talk to the guy that's playing the music, the police officer comes over to defend him as if I was doing anything. And she deliberately wants him to stay there to disrupt our process. But guess what, Mr. Officer and Mrs. Officer? It's not going to happen. Whose lives matter? I said no. Whose lives matter? No justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No sexist. I said no justice. No justice. No racist. No racist. Okay, I forgot who was speaking next. I got carried away with that one. Sorry, give me a minute. Thank you. Oh, you can give me a round of applause if you want. Thank you. Thank you. So our next speaker, let me tell you something. We've been talking about a two-party state, and it doesn't serve in our interest, and it never has. And we're being failed by the two main political parties. We've got one party that's a white supremacist party, and it always has been. And we've got the leader of an opposition who wants to be more racist than the Tory party. When we had the Nationalities and Borders Act, and it was going through the Lords, the Labour Lords could have defeated it. They could have easily defeated it. And they were whipped to abstain from that vote. So when we're talking about voting in any election, vote in your community's interest. Not just for yours as an individual, but as a community. Vote in your community's interest. If you can't hold politicians to account, if they won't let you hold them to account, why are we giving them our power? When you put that cross on the ballot box, you're handing them our power. We can't be giving power to people who are racist, who are white supremacists, who are anti-working class, and they don't care about climate change. We've got to think seriously what we're doing with our vote. And so it's really important that we have like a mixture of people coming to speak to us. So our next speaker is Mandu Reid from the Women's Equality Party. Please make some noise.
Thank you, Delia. Thank you to everybody who showed up here today. I want to thank BLM for organizing this. And so when I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! That's right. Thank you, BLM. It takes a lot to make this kind of thing happen. Now, I have prepared something, but I've got a musical accompaniment that's not really my vibe. So let's just see where this goes. Let's talk about these bills. Do you know these bills that we're here to protest? There's three of them. The Nationality and Borders Bill, the Police Crime Sentencing Courts Bill, the Public Order Bill. The story of these bills is the story of our country descending into authoritarian oligarchy. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. These bills are symptoms of a government that is macho, that is racist, that is elitist, that is callous, that is bigoted in every way imaginable. Make no mistake, with these bills, the government is sowing the seeds of fascism. I'm not exaggerating. Look back through history. The seeds of fascism always look the same. And let me tell you, my friends, they look like this. Every time we think we've surely hit rock bottom with this government, they show us that rock bottom has a basement. And down, down, down we go. I say enough. And I want you to say it with me. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We do not accept the Nationality and Borders Bill, which risks relegating millions of us with immigrant heritage to second-class citizens. We don't accept it. It criminalizes refugees who have escaped unimaginable circumstances at home, including women who have experienced the most egregious forms of sexual violence in places where rape is used as a weapon of war, and the world turns a blind eye. Enough! And then let's talk about policing for a second. The policing bill. Don't get me started, but actually I'm here to talk about it, so I am going to get started. The policing bill is basically designed to silence and stifle us. These people talk about freedom of speech. They put freedom of speech on a pedestal, but whose freedom of speech? They don't want to hear from us. They want to try and silence and stifle us with that bill. And the other thing it does is it gives the police more powers. I feel like I have to say that again. This government has chosen to give the police more powers right at the moment that the police have been shown yet again to be institutionally racist, what black people have been saying for decades, but also institutionally misogynist and institutionally homophobic. And they choose this moment to give that rotten institution more powers to stifle us and try and shut us down. Now, if that does not stink of fascism, I don't know what does, my friends. It's no exaggeration when we talk about fascism in this context. But you know what, folks? As some of the other speakers have already said, you know what's really going on here? What we're seeing, what we're experiencing is backlash. They are doing this because they are scared of us. They are doing this, they need the public order bill to stifle people, to shut people down, to impose serious disruption prevention orders, which, by the way, remind me a lot of the kind of measures that were taken, banning orders in apartheid South Africa to shut down protesters and campaigners and activists like Stephen Biko. Does that remind you of something? It reminds me of fascism. They feel under threat because we are powerful, and they know it. Civil resistance and protest is powerful, and they know it. That's what this is all about. United, as other people have said already, we will never be defeated. Let's say that together. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. That's right. The people united will never be defeated. That's right. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. united, will never be defeated. We won't be. And that's what today has to be about. That's what tomorrow has to be about. That's what next week, next month has to be about. We've got to join forces. Whether your starting point is women's rights, the environment, migrant justice, LGBTQI liberation, we've got to stick together. We've got to link arms. We've got to remember that together we are the majority, and the majority will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mandy. It's very refreshing. It's very refreshing to finally hear the truth from a politician. We don't get much of that in this country. Listen, we haven't got much speakers left, but you know what we're going to do? You look a bit tired. I've got to vibes it up a bit. I've got to give you some vibes. So can we have the band come and make some... Actually, we had planned it to drown out the guy that was here with his little fucking... Excuse my language. His little music sound. But anyway... Go with God, brother. Go with God. You know what? So come on, band. Let's get some vibes going in this place. Adria, BLM London, make some noise.
So good afternoon to all of you who are watching. My name is Wendell Daniel and welcome to StreetMic. And we are coming to you live and direct from Whitehall. We're about 100 yards away from the Cenotaph. And we're out here with Black Lives Matter. So I started my filming career on the streets of London 4 years ago, just under 4 years ago, I think it was, after George Floyd was shot. So I covered 90% of all of the BLM protests which took place in London. So I know all of the BLM leaders, and this is how I started out doing video recording immediately after George Floyd was killed. So I was normally on the streets of London. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big up. So let's listen, but if you like what you're seeing...
Everybody, can you sit down, please? Take a seat. Take a load off. Take a load off, because we've still got some fire speakers coming up. And our next speaker is absolutely divine. He's not only an activist, and he's not only bringing fire every time he comes to these protests, but he's also a BAFTA winner. Our community has got some real talent, but none more so than my friend, my Uncle
Cynthia Jarrett, dead. Joy Gardner, dead. Rashawn Charles, dead. Dalian Atkinson, dead. Christopher Alder, dead. Chris Cubber, dead. And the people who we pay to protect and serve them have their blood on their hands. Last month, a report revealed that between 2018 and 2022, 2,847 children were strip searched in England and Wales by the police. 52% of these strip searches took place without an appropriate adult being present. 38% of these strip searches were performed on black children. Even though black children only make up 6% of school children in the country. 51% of these strip searches ended in no further action being taken. It's time we stop being gracious and called the police out for what they really are. Murderers and paedophiles! Murderers and paedophiles! In April, the Casey report revealed that the Metropolitan Police is institutionally racist, homophobic and misogynistic. Now that comes as a surprise to none of us here, except for one person. The head of the Met, Sir Mark Rowley, has refused to use the term institutionally racist. Well, I have something to say to Mark and any other person who wants to dismiss racism. If you deny racism, you are guilty of perpetuating racism. Recently, the Daily Mirror revealed that the Met will not be looking at officers accused of racism in their plans to get rid of rogue officers. The Observer investigation recently discovered that in order to evade public scrutiny, police forces in England and Wales had deleted dozens of officer misconduct cases from their websites. That proves we cannot rely on the police to protect us, particularly if we are working class or from marginalised communities. Therefore, we must unify in order to protect ourselves and each other. It's important we remember, solidarity is a verb, not a noun. It takes place on the streets, not in your tweets. One way we can show true community cohesion is by joining or forming cop watches. Here, we can monitor the police the way they are monitoring us right now. Ignoring police brutality means you are guilty of supporting police brutality. We should always intervene when we see someone being stopped and harassed by the police. This shows true, active solidarity, and also it makes a hostile environment for the police to continue doing their work in. An acronym you should remember is this: drop in. So if you want to take out your phones and write this down, drop in, okay? It's going to be a quick workshop. Drop in stands for this. D stands for detained.
Is the person being detained? If not, they're free to walk away. R, this is the easiest one, stands for record. Always record the cops. O stands for officer. Who is the officer? Find out their name, their badge, their rank and their station. P stands for under what power are they performing the stop. I stands for what item are they searching for. And N stands for no personal details. If the police ask you any questions, reply by saying no comment. If an arrest does take place, remember this. No duty solicitor, no caution, and no comment. Yes, turn off your mobile phones. Yes, give the person a bus card. Bus cards have information and phone numbers of the appropriate solicitors. You can get them online. Everyone should have them, especially when you come for protests. The Met Commissioner, like I said earlier, Mark Rowley, confessed that 2 to 3 Met police officers will face trial every week from now until 2025 for the crimes they have committed. I'm going to end with asking all of you here one question. If, at the place that you worked, 2 to 3 of your colleagues face trial every week for crimes, would you just think it's a case of a few bad apples? Or would you think the whole tree is rotten and needs to be cut down? Thank you.
Yes, Marlon. Yes, Marlon. Bring in the fire as usual. Yes. There's no point picking off the rotten apples. You have to uproot the tree. Yes, Marlon. We've got another speaker here. And I want you to big him up because he's from the Citizens is a Right Coalition. And when we did the publicity for Shut It Down, he is the one that wrote an absolutely fantastic article. So please give some noise. Make some noise for Ahmad Hussein, my comrade.
Thank you, Delia. Thank you to all the organisers, everyone participating. My name is Ahmed Hussein. I'm part of the Muslim Public Affairs Committee UK, part of the Citizenship is a Right Coalition. But that's enough about me. We're running out of time. My short speech is a warning. The other speakers, more educated, more articulate than I, have given better explanations of the Nationality and Borders Act, which makes second-class citizens or foreign-born citizens, all with foreign parents or foreign grandparents, and it dehumanises refugees. And the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act, which has the hallmarks of a police state, and the upcoming Public Order Bill, which will throttle our voices of dissent entirely. So my short speech will just be a warning of inaction or half-hearted action that is too slow to be effective. We cannot wait for the journalists and commissioners and analysts to write their reports in a decade's time, lamenting all the deportations and deaths long after our own mourning has ended. Why do I specifically say a decade? Because our collective wake-up call should have been a decade ago, in 2013, when the vans were going up and down the streets of Britain, telling immigrants they're not welcome. Our moment of panic should have been in 2017, when the Windrush scandal became public. Because if the most loyal immigrants this country ever saw could have their citizenship stripped, then of course it will happen to the rest of us. And our final warning came in January of this year when Cruella Braverman announced that the promises she made to the Windrush victims would be broken. And so we're potentially back at the start of another decade of deportations and death. The best time to start to fight back was a decade ago. The second best time is right now. Make this pledge. Make this pledge right now that you will continue to fight, that you will join this fight, because this use and abuse of us, our lives, our families, our very bodies, this political scapegoating will continue all the way up to the next general election. This fight, which has been forced upon us, is for the sake of our children and our parents and our loved ones. We have no choice but to fight back. Join any of the organisations here today and join the fight back. My time's nearly up. I'm going to end with another warning, and this is for those
who claim to be an authority, who believe they have power over us. Your power is borrowed. It's lent to you for a limited time by the electorate. You know this fact, and you fear it. And in your fear, you seek to silence our voices of dissent. But by threatening our families and legislating to make civil dissent impossible, you are the ones who leave us with no option but uncivil disobedience. Citizenship is a right. The coalition will put them to the test. We will put every party on the spot. We will contact them. We will see which side of history they choose to stand on. The side of the tyrants, or the side who will defeat the tyrants. No justice. No justice. Let them hear us. No justice. Thank you.
Oh, that was so amazing. It was so amazing. And we're wrapping up now. But there's a lot of messages we take from today. One is stop voting for racists. Stop voting for them and stop voting for people who don't care about our planet. We don't want talk. We don't need talking shops. We need action. You understand? We don't need LTNs being introduced in one neighbourhood that the people hate and an incinerator being expanded in another. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. We shouldn't have to be on the street fighting to save our planet. It sounds crazy. We shouldn't have to be on the street fighting to breathe clean air. And on that note, I've just got to say my last, I've got to say to Marcus and Morgan, you don't even know how much you've moved people. We know what you were doing and we know what you stand for. And as long as you are there, and as long as you've got people supporting you, Black Lives Matter will stand in solidarity. Because I remember, I don't forget when people turn up for our community. And Marcus and Morgan turned up every single time in Edmonton to help us fight against the disaster, the killer that is the incinerator. So I've got nothing but love for them, brothers. They are martyrs in this movement. I'm proud to know them. Please, when you speak to them, please send my love to them. And I want to say, everybody, all the groups that came out today, thank you. You know what I mean? It's not difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to mobilize different groups because, we all think, we're fighting for different things. But actually, we're fighting for one thing. We are fighting for equality for everybody. We're fighting for a better life for everybody. And we're made to look like we're criminals. They call us all sorts. The government, they call Black Lives Matter terrorists. They were going to do an investigation into us. Well, I'm right here. I'm right here. Investigate. But, when we see groups coming together, especially those of us, Just Stop All, I've got to big you up. Big up Just Stop All today. Big you up. We've never worked together before, but we will work together again. But I've also got to big up Extinction Rebellion. Because I swear to you, I called them up and I said, listen, I want to do this thing. How can you help me? They just said, just tell me what you need. And they turned up, as always. They always turn up in solidarity. And it's taken a long time to get our relationship to the place that it is now. But we appreciate you, Extinction Rebellion.
United. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. Big up yourself, Extinction Rebellion. Thank you. Listen, we've got to do this more often. If we stay at home, the government thinks that we don't care. That's what happens. If we don't do anything, if we don't get on the streets, they think they've gotten away scot-free. And it's our duty. If we are activists and we care about the planet and we care about white supremacy and racism and we are trying to defeat the injustices that we are being subjected to, then it's our duty to get on the street, mobilize together and show the people why we're here. And when they stop us and they ask us, explain it to them. This is what solidarity looks like. Solidarity, everybody.
So let me go in front of the camera.
Put it on YouTube, I can't remember. Is it always on there or is it just stream? What's your channel called?
StreetMic.
StreetMic.
Under the weight of its own capitalist system, because it has no solutions to offer to the working class of this country. Look around us and look around us and get angry.
Come over here,
to be angry. About half of black and Asian children in this country live in poverty, and about a quarter of white children in this country are also in poverty. So how does this government have the cheek to tell us that they need immigration police to save British values when we have working people in this country choosing between eating and eating?
So let me just see if the microphones are working nicely, and I think they are. Testing, testing. I can only hear on one.
Speaking at the end of the protest because we've been censored. We've been censored by the mainstream anti-racism movement because we want to offer an alternative. We want to show and we believe and white supremacy that we see is down to capitalism, and that the answer to racism, the answer to racism, the answer to neo-colonialism,
testing. So that should be working now.
To be anti-capitalist, and we have to recognize.
Hey, good afternoon, sir. You all right, man?
This system that leaves working people starving while billionaires.
So I'm now in front of the camera. So good afternoon, all. Wendell Denner from StreetMic coming to you live and direct with BLM down here in Whitehall, and it has been a very interesting day, and for me it's been great to be out with these guys yet again after so long, because this is really how I started it all off 4 years ago with BLM. And earlier on, I've made that Freudian slip by saying when George Floyd was shot, and what I actually meant when he was murdered by a policeman who, we know what he did in America. But what I'm going to do in a moment is catch a few of the main speakers down here and get them to introduce themselves. And let me just go into the chat now and say hello to a few of you who are in there. And don't forget, tomorrow, Speaker's Corner from 1 till 5 p.m. So Speaker's Corner from 1 till 5 p.m. And down at Speaker's Corner, we're going to have a special guest where... So they're just taking some photographs, and so the person I want to talk to is just taking a few photographs. But tomorrow at Speaker's Corner from 1 to 5 p.m. I'm gonna see you later, Craig. I'm gonna have a special guest. I haven't spoken to her yet, and let me ring her now and see what she has to say. And she doesn't know, and I'm just going to work out what time I'm actually going to be. Whoops! I said her. Oh my God. I shouldn't have said that, because I know you guys and girls are going to read between the lines what is meant by her. Don't read between the lines, because it may not be who you think it is. So tomorrow, Speaker's Corner, there will be a special guest. I don't know Who it is, liar. I know who it is. It's a female. Thank you, sir, yeah? See you next time, yeah? It is a female. It's not Hatum. It's someone else, but it's a special guest. I know that's what you're all thinking. Hatum, my so-called wife, but it's not. So let me say hello to a few of you. So start from here. So Matt Dosmitri, Lee Wang, John Savant, One Check Nice Playlist, Steve Miles, Soap Dodger, Big Man, NY Joy in Tube 1, Fat Loba, The Sherries, Paul Essex, Venus K, Paul Wilson White, David Cafe. Big up. So let me catch a few interviews with some of the regular. I'll be back in a few seconds.
So, if you wanted to say anything on this march, come and say something. Whether you're just approved,
I'll speak to you when you finish, yeah? Can I?
Palestine solidarity,
Let's have a chat.
involved and just come and say something. Because we need to be...
So if you step forward, my dear, people moan when I put my arms around people, ladies. I don't give a shit what they say.
Come here, brother.
Big up, big up. So, have you enjoyed today?
It's been beautiful. The solidarity across movements is really how we defeat this government and any fascist movements that are trying to mobilise against us. And really, when we recognise each other as brothers and sisters and that we have more in common than the 1%, then we're so powerful, right?
Yeah, yeah. But what keeps you going? I see you on the streets of London most weeks, going back years. We're fighting against the system. But what keeps you going because you have to make so many sacrifices?
So, you know, I came, one of the theories of change I work for is movements. I've been practicing movements of movements, which is, you know what, we've got more in common and we need to be coming out and working together and learning how to work in solidarity and making friends and becoming in our beauty and our joy, and that no one really has that much difference in you. Like, actually, the only thing that we should be focusing on is who's oppressing us. And I think that gives me joy, because when I see things light up for people, when I see relationships build, when I see people coming out together, that's what gives me hope. That's what makes me come to the table each time. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. I break a lot in between. But, you know, warriors that we are, because our people our existence is resistance.
But what does your family think of you always out doing this kind of stuff?
So, you know, for my family, they came to this country when I was 3. They're hardworking. They work 12-hour days, 7 days a week. You know, they don't really have enough capacity to understand all of what I'm doing, but they do understand that I'm fighting for justice for us all.
Excellent stuff. You're doing an excellent job. And the last time I saw you was last week, when you were out with Extinction Rebellion for 4 days. What was that like?
My God, it's bloody magical, because I've been working in that movement for nearly 4 years, saying make space, let's make space for everyone and let's do it together. And you know, there's been people have to move on a journey and understand that when we come together and we make space for each other, we're so much more powerful. Yes, they did hold on their non-violent direct action tactics, which allowed for everybody to come together. And for me, that was like a big recruitment fair. That, you know, the everyday person came there, they had so many different groups to speak to. So if you don't like doing what XR does, then there's all these other spaces that you can work in. So it allowed for everyone to find their own journey into resistance. And, you know, don't get me wrong, XR will be doing non-violent direct action going forward. But guess what? We'll be doing it with multiple other groups. The more of us do it together, the more impactful we are. And yeah, that tool's not going to be put down. But those that don't want to be in that space have got all these other groups to be doing the work.
One thing I really loved last week was that if you go back when Extinction Rebellion first become known. They dropped a pink boat in Oxford Circus, and then they dropped the pink boat in front of the appeal court. Then they dropped the boat when I was here in front of the House of Commons, and then it went quiet. And then a lot of their activities, it didn't have the numbers, but what I loved last week, it was ran last Saturday. It was big. I only did one day because I was very busy. And for me, it was so great to see so many people out on the streets. And one thing people did comment on was that adults bringing their babies, their children, because it was a safe environment to be, and that is so great.
So I think we need to be cyclical, so we make space, and then we go into non-violent direct action, which is not for everyone, then we make space, and then we go into... because really, we know from our historical movements that without non-violent direct action, we don't make any impact. Right? But equally, we need to top up our resources and top up our people by creating safe spaces so more people can find their way. So for me, non-violent direct action as a woman of colour from the global south, it is DNA, right? Our existence is resistance, and this is how so many of our forefathers and mothers have won rights for us. So it's not a tool that we can put down, but we can take turns in picking it up and putting it down.
My final question, a few people in the chat over numerous weeks make silly comments because they're uneducated and stupid, because they don't know. They sit behind a computer screen and they don't come into the real world like you and I and meet people on a regular basis. Do you feel intimidated by what I'm doing now, by having my arms around you? Do you think it's creepy? What do you think of when you're...
I think it's more about consent. So you asked me, would you, is it okay for me to put your arm around you? And I said yes. And so that is perfectly normal and acceptable. What is not normal and acceptable is if you approach someone and you just put your arm around. You approach someone every time I see someone I know, I don't just, I ask them, do you want to hug? Some days you might not want to hug, some days you might want. Right? So this is about consent for me. So as long as someone is actively asked, do they mind, and they agree, all loving to everyone.
Of course, of course. And we know each other, and we've got a relationship, professional relationship. There is rapport, and that makes it so much easier. Hello, darling.
Hello.
Excellent stuff. But I look forward to seeing you at the next protest, and it's going to be brilliant. And what I'm going to chat with now is Dahlia when she's done. But Dahlia is so if we can talk, Dahlia, before I close. So good afternoon. You're the leader of BLM Enfield, and you're also on BLM London, yes?
And BLM Coalition.
So tell me more, first of all, about what it takes to arrange an event like this, and what sort of relationships do you have to build with the police? What sort of advance warning? What does it take?
Well, we don't talk to the police. Black Lives Matter do not talk to the police. But there are certain rules now and there's certain laws, so there'll always be an organisation that's ready to liaise with them. But we weren't heavily policed today. I've been on protests recently where it was very heavily policed. We weren't heavily policed today. So, you know, and that's down to our reputation. Really. It's reputational. Because it would be very damaging for them to have photos of them harassing us and it's Black Lives Matter. And you know that would go international, so they didn't bother with it. But in terms of what it takes to have, you know, different groups collaborating with each other, it's a long haul slog, you know, because we've been burnt so many times by different organisations that we don't rush to work with, you know, lots of different... We have to know what they're about, and they have to really respect our agenda, especially when the groups are mainly white and middle class. They haven't got the same experience as us, and so it's really important when we're talking to them and trying to find a way to work with them, that they understand their privilege is something that we don't have. So what can they do with their privilege that protects us? Relationships that you said, like XR, is see, they didn't do like some of the actions that they normally do today. They marched behind us, they didn't try and take in front.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's because we've been having these discussions for quite a long time. And it's important to have, and I think everybody here says, you know, unity and solidarity, and it's really the truth, because black people have been fighting this thing, racism and white supremacy for hundreds of years, and we can't do it on our own.
Initially, the plan was to finish outside of number 10 Downing Street, but as you know, there was a Sudanese and Iranian, there was a coalition of people coming together. What kind of issues did that create for you in not being able to go where you initially wanted or walk past? Because you said you would remain here so as not to cause problems for other groups.
I think, listen, we're not scared of any groups, but
Yeah.
especially if you're in a position like I am and you're calling these demonstrations, I've got a duty to represent everybody that's in part of our coalition. You understand? And if there are issues with a certain group of people, like our Muslim brothers and sisters, and that's going to cause them a problem up there, I'm not going to lead a march into a problem. You know what I mean? Where communities are going to be against communities. If you think about the press attention that would get, it would be absolutely disastrous. And you know what I mean? I've got a reputation of being unafraid, but supportive and respectful. And in our Citizens for the Right coalition, we've got lots of Muslim groups that come together, and I respect our relationship. So I made a decision to protect them.
Yeah. Final question. As you know, I like to be impartial. Yeah. And I like people to have their opportunity to say what they need to say.
Yeah.
Here's the microphone. You've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Hey,
we're out here today because we have got to send a message to the government that although these laws have gone through, you've got the Nationality and Borders Act, you've got the Police Crime Sentencing and Courts Act, and that came about as a direct response to Black Lives Matter and the actions that Extinction Rebellion were taking. We've brought these streets to a close, and they responded by bringing in these acts and laws to try and silence our voices. And we've regularly got to send a message to them that that's not going to work. You can bring in your laws. You can bring them in. You brought in your laws, but that didn't stop us from taking to the streets. And it's also important, particularly with Black Lives Matter, because people, when you say Black Lives Matter, a lot of people listen up to that. And so if we've got a lot of people listening to us, we have to make sure that our community is always represented on the stage. We are not going to kowtow to a government that's bringing in laws that are leading us into fascism. And we're not going to sleepwalk into a situation where we're living now in a police state. We've got to continue a resistance against these laws, a resistance against the government. And it's a shame that we have to do these things. It's a shame. But we don't have any legal opposition in this country that will take them to task. They're just as bad. We've got white supremacy in the government, and we've got a white supremacist leader of the opposition. So we can't rely on any of these political parties. The only people we can rely on is ourselves. And that's why when I said before, it's important that we unite and come together in unity and solidarity. We will never be able to defeat the issues that we're facing in society if we don't do that. So that's why we've taken to the streets, and we're going to do some more. We're going to take to the streets some more. We're going to keep resisting these government laws. We're going to keep standing up for ordinary people. Our communities are beaten down. Black communities are tired. They can't even mobilise a lot of the time to get on the streets because they're so busy fighting the police in their communities who are harassing their children. They're so busy being stressed out from the disproportionate amounts of school exclusions from black children, a school to prison pipeline. There's so much going on for them. So if we've got the capacity, we'll take on that fight for them. I'll continue to fight for our communities, and I'll continue to join groups in solidarity as long as they respect our voices and respect our principles and respect our message. So that's why we're here, solidarity.
Excellent. As normal, thank you very much, Dahlia, and I look forward to the next protest. Do you know something? For me, it was so great to be out here today because during the George Floyd protest, with all of the different BLM groups, I was out every Sunday with all of the protests every week for months. And it's great to be out here again. Big up.
We invite everyone here to come and join us every day of the week, Monday to Friday, 7 to 11 in Parliament Square. And then on Saturday,
Say that again? I'm C. Joey Tamar. You'll see me.
every morning, every
And have a good day.
I will do.
When's the next one? Let me know.
We'll put it out there. We just need to regroup and speak to the different groups and see.
Testing. So I'm now back. We've spoken to Dahlia and we've spoken to all of the BLM leaders who are down there today. But I am going to be closing down in a minute. But all I will do is to make a couple of announcements. Like I said, tomorrow at Speaker's Corner between 1 and 5 p.m. So StreetMic will be live, Speaker's Corner tomorrow between 1 and 5 p.m. and all of the regular rabble-rousers will be down there. And I look forward to seeing all of that. And before I do lockdown, I will give you a look at something else that's going on, because this protest is technically finishing now. But just down there, there's another big protest going on. So this protest is just ending. Behind me, there's another big protest going on. Do you want me to go down there and continue to film and engage? And I believe it's the Sudanese and the Iranians. So the Sudanese and the Iranians are, I'm going to pull back, then it won't be out of focus. So the Sudanese and the Iranians are behind me down by the Ministry of Defence building. So do you want me to continue filming down there? And so go in the chat, let me know, do you want me to shut down now, or shall I continue filming the Sudanese and all? But I said I had 2 announcements to make, so I'm now going to make the second announcement. So the second announcement relates to Sasha Johnson. So as you know, I interviewed Sasha Johnson's personal assistant, Andy Morris, about 3 weeks ago at Speaker's Corner. And it was disclosed that something was going to be happening for Sasha Johnson very shortly. I know what it's going to be. I'm not saying what it's going to be quite yet and any of the details. That will be made clear in the week. So something very specific will be happening for Sasha Johnson. You will find out lots of information, and it's going to be something big. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling you where or all of the usual details, because that doesn't really matter at this moment in time. So I know you all like Sasha, I know you love her, I know some of you dislike her, but an event will be held for Sasha Johnson very soon, because the 23rd of May is the anniversary of when an assassin tried to kill her. That person was unsuccessful. Sasha is making a recovery, and something will be happening very soon. All will be revealed within the next week. I can assure you that. So that was the announcement. I'm giving you guys and girls in the chat that information. So go in the chat now. Tell me if you want me to continue down there where that big protest is coming, still continuing. So people are saying, Paul Wilson, White, carry on filming.
Thank you very much, comrades. As I was saying,
enjoy.
Open mic.
Tube, carry on filming.
Just, you know, do this for no reason.
He's such a tease. What do you mean I'm such a tease, Klaus? Tommy Robinson for PM, someone has said. Johnson, Joel, have respect. Sasha had it coming. I'll one-check my playlist. StreetMic is in love with Sasha. What do you mean an assassin? Maybe I know more than what I'm telling. Say no more. Fat Lobber, more adventure, please. I think what you guys and girls are saying is that you love StreetMic, you love me teasing you. So what I will be doing, I should have been going to an event in Ponders End, in Enfield, entitled, I've told you, Jamming for Justice. That is currently taking place in Ponders End Park. Someone who is there has told me only about 10 people are there. So why should I leave here where there's hundreds, there's thousands down there to go to an event where there's only 10 people? So that means I'm not going, so I will continue to film because I know you guys love StreetMic. But don't forget, you must share the link to your family and friends if you've got any. I know you ain't got none because that's why you're not sharing. But you must share. You ask them to follow and subscribe. So I'm now going to go down there and engage. So one great thing about what I do is that after a while, because you get on the people, you get priority. And when you get a big motherfucking camera like me, you always get front space. If you've got a little phone camera, you don't get prime position. When you're StreetMic, my camera's this big. When it's this big, I'm talking camera. Stop thinking anything else. You dirty, stinking, rotten, beep, beep, beep. So I'm now gonna I'm going. I've been told, get down there. I'm going. Big up. So I'm now making my way. Hello, my darling. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day, my darling. So even though it says BLM, I can't change that because the stream has already started. So it will continue as a BLM, but where I'm going now, because you guys want a piece more StreetMic, I should charge you. I should charge you for all of this stuff I do for you. What is really great is that all of that great private work I do in the week, I get plenty of cash for that, and that enables me to do this kind of stuff at the weekend. So I'm happy to do that for you guys for free. As I said, tomorrow, Speaker's Corner. So here's the cenotaph. This is where in November, Remembrance Day. So this is where the Remembrance Day parade is held. And King Charles will be up there. So I'm just gonna, when I get to wherever is going on, I'm just going to push right in the front. When you've got a big camera, you can normally claim. Normally is 99.9% of the time. But let's wait and see. I've got to try and identify, first of all, where the main speakers are.
They are a threat not only to Iranian citizens, but also to Middle East and citizens of every country in the globe.
Excuse
to
me.
the IRGC, I say this.
Can I?
You can no longer hide behind your lies and your brutality. The time has come for you to face justice for your crimes. We will not rest until justice. We will not rest until justice has been served, and Iranians can live in peace and freedom. I urge Mr. Rishi Sunak, Mr. James Cleverly, to take action. We must not wait for more disasters to happen. We call the international community, politicians, British citizens, and everyone else to come together to stop the IRGC before it's too late. Join us in taking a stand against the IRGC, to hold them accountable for their crimes and to ensure that justice is served. This is vital to enforce not only for ourselves, but for our future generations, so they can live in a world free of terrorism, oppression, and fear. The future belongs to our sisters, our brothers, and our children, and they deserve to live in a world of peace. We will never forget, nor shall we ever forgive. But bear in mind, we will win all together. 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 We are all fighting for Azadi, Azadi, Azadi. Azadi, Azadi, Azadi. Begu. Azadi, Azadi, Azadi. Begu. Azadi, Azadi, Azadi.
Thank you, Azamat John. I'd like to remind you all today that if every single one of you scan this QR code, please take out your phones and take a photo of it. Tweet Rishi Sunak right now. We have pre-populated tweets ready for you. You can tweet him as you're standing here today and call him to put the IRGC terrorists, UK, put them on the list. IRGC terrorists, UK, put them on the list. Our next speaker is an extremely active campaigner and another victim of the brutality of the IRGC. In the flight PS752, 176 people were killed. including the next speaker's wife and daughter. His wife Parisa and his daughter Rira. Ever since the illegal downing of the flight by IRGC missiles, Ahmed Ismailian emerged as a public advocate. Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much. خیلی ممنونم. متشکرم از شما. امروز صبح متاسفانه نمیدونم اطلاع دارید یا نه، قبل از اینکه صحبتامو شروع کنم، امروز صبح دادگاه منوچهر بختیاری در شهر قزوین قرار بود برگزار بشه و بسیاری از خانواده‌های آبان راهی این دادگاه بودن. متاسفانه تصادفی رانندگی رخ داده که حالا جزئیاتش بعدا مشخص خواهد شد، باید منتظر باشیم. خانم صدیقه تورانی، مادر جانباخته آزادی در آبان، فرهاد مژدم متاسفانه از دنیا رفتند و متاسفانه وحید دامور، پدر و مادرش الان در شرایط بدی در بیمارستان هستند و من به خانواده‌های آبان تسلیت میگم. امیدوارم و ما اون روز رو میبینیم که عدالت برای وحید، برای فرهاد و برای تمام جانباختگان آبان اجرا خواهد شد. We have lived through 4 decades of mayhem and corruption. We have suffered 4 decades of murder and injustice. Since the mullahs and their Islamic Revolutionary Guards seized power in Iran, they began their systematic oppression of the people. As we stand here today, the IRGC is the most important tool for tyranny across Iran. Every day, Iranian dissidents and freedom fighters are being tortured in IRGC's dungeons of horror. It is the IRGC that is responsible for abducting and kidnapping journalists from neighboring countries. Prisons, airports, industries, ports, mines, and even the oil industry is either fully controlled or under the influence of the IRGC's corrupt commanders. Those who fire upon innocent children on the streets are armed by IRGC. And it was an IRGC aerospace operator who fired missiles at a civilian airplane and murdered 177 innocent passengers. The IRGC mafia is responsible for destroying most of Iran's environment. Our economy and entire future has been ravaged by the IRGC, and the people of Iran consider this terrorist organization as the source of devastation and destruction of their country. Enough is enough. The truth must no longer be denied. Money laundering and systemic economic corruption that has infiltrated the borders of Western democracies can only be stopped by placing the IRGC on the list of terrorist organizations. This nefarious entity and all of its subsidiaries have no place in the future of Iran. Wahid Beheshti, I'm here to speak to the government of democratic governments. Wahid Beheshti is here on hunger strikes for 66 days to speak truth to the world. Listen to him. Hear his protest and stop appeasing the tyrannical regime. Listen to Wahid, who speaks from the hearts of all Iranians who are fighting for freedom, and put the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps on the terrorist list. بیش از 4 دهه آدم کشی و چپاول، بیش از 4 دهه کشتار و بی‌عدالتی. از آن روزی که روحانیون و سپاهیان قدرت را در ایران قبضه کردند، دست به سرکوب گسترده مردم زدند و امروز که اینجا ایستاده ایم، سپاه پاسداران مهمترین ابزار سرکوب در سراسر ایران است. اقوام ایرانی هر روز توسط سپاه پاسداران سرکوب می شوند. جای شکنجه ایرانیان آزاده زندانهای مخفی سپاه است. عامل ربودن خبرنگاران از کشورهای همسایه عوامل اطلاعاتی سپاه پاسداران هستند. زندانها، فرودگاهها، صنایع مولد، اسکله‌ها، معادن و صنعت نفت یا در اختیار سپاه است یا تحت نظارت غیر مستقیم سرداران فاسد سپاه اداره می شود. آنچه در خیابان به بچه های مردم شلیک می کند، اسلحه‌اش را از سپاه می گیرد. آنچه به هواپیمای مسافربری شلیک می کند، اپراتور هوافضای سپاه است. بخش زیادی از محیط زیست ایران را مافیای سپاه به نابودی کشیده است. اقتصاد و آینده را عوامل سپاه به تباهی کشاندند و ایرانیان این سازمان تروریستی را برابر با مرگ و نیستی می‌دانند. کتمان حقیقت کافی است. پولشویی و زدوبند اقتصادی در خارج از کشور تنها با قرار دادن این سازمان در لیست گروه‌های تروریستی متوقف می شود. سپاه پاسداران انقلاب اسلامی و زیر مجموعه‌های آن جایی در آینده ایران ندارند. چرا که تروریست ها را در آینده ایران جایی نیست. روی سخنم با دولت های دموکراتیک است. وحید بهشتی 66 روز در اینجا اعتصاب غذا کرده است تا این حقیقت را به دنیا باز بگوید. سخن او را بشنوید، دست از مماشات بردارید و خواستش یعنی قرار دادن سپاه پاسداران را در لیست گروه‌های تروریستی اجرا کنید. ما در خارج از کشور وظیفه دشواری بر عهده داریم. ما باید نیروهای آزادی خواه را در داخل ایران تقویت کنیم. و برای انجام این مأموریت زنده بمانیم. خواسته ای از وحید بهشتی عزیز دارم. انقلاب زن، زندگی و آزادی انقلابی است مدنی بر پایه‌های دادخواهی و آزادی خواهی. یکی از ارکان این انقلاب زندگی است. باید زنده ماند و خاری در چشم استبداد شد. باید زنده ماند دولت زنده ماند و سقوط ستمگر را به چشم خود دید. از وحید بهشتی خواهش میکنم امروز به این روزه طولانی پایان بدهد. ما کارهای زیادی در آینده باید انجام بدهیم و برای به پیروزی رساندن این انقلاب ناگزیریم که زنده بمانیم. ما باید زنده بمانیم و اجرای عدالت را به چشم خود ببینیم. ما باید قاتلین فرزندان ایران را به دست عدالت بسپریم. ما قربانیان دشمنان زن، زندگی و آزادی را، ما قربانیان عوامل سرکوب و کشتار در سپاه پاسداران را نه فراموش می‌کنیم، نه فراموش می‌کنیم. خیلی ممنونم از شما.
IRGC terrorists! UK, put them on the list! IRGC terrorists! Everyone, UK government foreign office, I need you to hear how serious this is. We have had speakers from all over the globe with us today. Thank you to all our speakers. Thank you to all of you joining us so far. Next, I would like to kindly ask all of you to raise your hands in the air and hold the hand of someone next to you. Because we're here together in unity. Lily, let's show them how. I want you to all stand and hold someone's hands next to you. Because we are all one. We are all here for human rights. We are not here for political campaigning. We are not here to dictate the future of Iran. We're here to stand in solidarity with the victims of the IRGC all over the globe. For women, for life, for freedom! Women, life, 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 freedom! Women, life!
برای ترسیدن به وقت بوسیدن، برای خواهرم، خواهرت، خواهرامون، برای تغییر مسواک پوسیدن، برای شرمندگی، برای بیکوری، برای حسرت زندگی معمولی، برای کودک زبالگرد و آرزوهاش، برای این اقتصاد دستوری، برای این هوای آلوده، برای ولیعصر و درختای فرسوده، برای پیروز و احتمال انقراضش، برای سگهای بیگناه ممنوعه، برای گریه های بیوقفه، برای تصویر تکرار این لحظه، برای چهره ای که میخنده، برای دانش آموزا، برای آینده، برای این بهشت اجباری، برای نطفه های زندانی، برای کودکان افغانی، برای این همه برای غیر تکراری، برای این همه شعارهای تو خالی، برای آغاز خونه های پوشالی، برای احساس آرامش، برای خورشید پس از شبای طولانی، برای روزهای حساب و بیخوابی، برای مرد میهن آبادی، برای دختری که آرزو داشت پسر بود، برای زن زندگی آزادی.
So I'm now going to the...
Our next speaker, oh wow, he wished
So I'm
he was
leaving
here
this
with us
protest
today. If he saw
and I'm
all of
making
you
my
here
way
today,
to
I know he had a few words to say.
the Sudanese protest, which is taking place about 100 feet away. So we're doing the Sudanese protest.
Congratulations to everyone who showed up on this very special man, supporting not just undecided manifestation, supporting not just the people of Iran who will deal with their own problems by themselves. It's the oldest country in the world.
Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up.
How you doing?
Excuse me.
ما بتمشي لازم يا جماعة لا الاتحاد ربنا بالقرآن واحتفظوا بحبل الله الاتحاد في كل حاجة انتوا قاعدين في البيت عندكم حيطة وقعت نجيب اليوم نجيب الطيب ما بقوموا الحيطة ما تنبني لازم كلكم تحطوا يدكم في الدار برغم اختلافك السياسي اختلافك الحزبي في النهاية السودان بيقول نادي السودان جريء السودان ميزي وبلدنا ده يا جماعة محسودين عليها بلد يا جماعة سيدنا يوسف يضربون يا أهوب بلد محسودين عليه والله يا جماعة البلد الألدان ده والله ما ادى شيء في الدنيا بلد شوف لو حددت البتاعة دي دقائق عمل بلد خصبة ثروة حيوانية ما لها حد شعب جيعان بنسمع يقول لك السودان نمرة 2 في العالم في الثروة الحيوانية وهو الواحد والله بيسأل مرتاح بيضه ده شو عندي الذهب بيقول لك والله نحن نروح في افريقيا والله الواحد بيعرض بحدي بلاستيك البلد مسروقه وذكاء ونحن واي وبيقول لك البرهان احمد ده ما اشتروا منا ميزون ده لاولادنا لابد غير نفسنا لا يغير الله بقوم حتى يغيروا انفسهم حتى يغيروا انفسهم ما غيرنا نفسنا اذا اي واحد تاجر للثاني والله ده اخرتكم والله كانوا مشردين حتى مصر الشعب المصري يقول السودانيين جو لاجئين شوفوا يا جماعه وصلنا مرحله افريقيا تستقبلنا الحدود يعني احنا يوم من الايام في شعوب كده ما نسكت الاسام لكن لما يقول خرطوم زي يقول ودي جنة عدن خرابه جايبهم لاولادهم ما جابهم من برا ما شوفوا
You're right. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Hey, what's happening, man? So what I'm now going to do is to engage with a few of the Sudanese leaders down here. So what I'm going to do is to engage with a few of the Sudanese leaders. Doctor!
From Sudan.
Come. I'm live. Hey, no, I'm live, come. 2 minutes, I'm live.
So why do you want me to stand?
So,
now, ladies and gentlemen.
None of them.
Yeah.
Who's he?
Yeah, he's an Iranian activist.
No, I want to talk to you. No. I'm talking to you first. No, I'm talking to you first. Sudan, then Iranian.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So how you been keeping? Hold on. I know him.
Are you ready?
Hold on.
I will take you into the podium there and you can say something.
100%. Yes, my wife is from Sudan.
Yes,
so
okay.
I'm kind of both sides here.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you. Do. So step forward, doctor, step forward. So last time we spoke, if I remember, I went all the way down to a hospital, was it in Luton?
Luton, yeah.
Luton, where you are a consultant, yes?
That's true.
That would have been 3 years ago.
3 years ago. And here we are in the same square one at the moment. What's happening in Sudan? We had a war erupted suddenly in the last maybe 13 days. 2 groups are fighting on the street on different locations. A street fight. People got killed. It's not safe. It's not safe for children. It's not safe for families. People got evicted from their own homes. People got killed. Patients get evacuated from hospitals. As the hospitals are not working, are not effective because the supply chain has stopped. There's no way of you having a proper established humanly life in Sudan as it stands.
If you stop for a couple of seconds, spin round that way, then I'll get the light in your face, then it won't be casting a shadow across your face. So it'd be brighter. So now you're nice.
Yes.
Now you're nice.
I'm happy to address the UK public here.
So now you're nice and bright. So I'm really shocked to discover what is going on in Sudan because, as you know, I went to Khartoum 3 years ago. I was outside of the military base, and we was under the impression that civilian rule was taking over.
Yeah.
What has happened?
What happened is the military leaders, they took over, they make a counter coup, and they they kidnapped our revolution, and there's a ruling power now in the Sudan. 2 military groups, one of them is the National Army of the Sudan, which we all feel that, it is the backbone of the country. And the other one is the paratroops who are coming, basically they are mainly foreigners.
So is that the Janjaweed?
Janjaweed, they are the Janjaweed who committed the genocide in Darfur. It's been brought by al-Bashir in the last, you still remember the genocide that happened in Darfur in 2003, 2004, 5, 6, and until now, the war is still raging in some cities and some spots in Darfur. These groups now, they came and they want to take over the power in Khartoum. They occupied the main centers of the capital. They occupied the national TV and radio. They occupied the parliament. They occupied the presidential palace. And it is a coup. And then our army are trying to get them out of the heavily populated areas to have this fight away from the populated areas. And it is a tit-for-tat war. It's a difficult war that we are fighting it with a very delicate situation. On one hand, we want to save the lives of the people because these Janjaweed are infiltrating the cities and all the squares. They are into people's home, people's living. They are looting. They are committing all the crimes that you could imagine. They broke all the major prisons. The prisoners are out. All level of crimes are now committed in Khartoum and in the major cities of Sudan. We here to raise the awareness, and we here to gather the support of the UK public for the cause of Sudan. Sudan is a resourceful, large country in Africa, and Sudan is located in a very strategic place. I think UK has a role to play. We need ceasefire, we need settlement, we need to go back to a transitional government, transitional civilian government, which is led by civilian, pure democracy, with human rights, with social justice and enterprise. We are hoping for that, and we will fight, and we will carry on fighting until we win. Thank you.
Final question. Was you surprised when you heard during Prime Minister's questions that Sudan was raised as a question by the opposition in Parliament during Prime Minister's questions?
I was so surprised, I was shocked. And there's a bystander, I think. The way the UK government is dealing with Sudan is not fair. We are human beings, we are former British colony. And Britain knows Sudan better than any other international force. And they know how the situation is. And instead of them stepping in for the sake of humanitarian avenues, and for the sake of these populations, they are giving very little very trivial support to our cause. We do condemn this stance of the government. Why is it the government is standing strong with Ukraine and standing strong with Sudan? And if it comes to the human resources or to the natural resources, Sudan has more natural resources than Ukraine. Sudan has more gold than Ukraine. We got oil. We are located in the Middle East. We are located in a very prime site. You either support us or you leave us with this turmoil which has been raging for the last 4 years. We need your support. We need a clear support from the UK government as the humanitarian avenues has to be open. We need ceasefire. We need to get things moving towards the direction of democracy, freedom and enterprise.
As normal, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it is deja vu being back here again with the Sudanese people. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, sir. So, sir, if you step forward, I want to talk to you next. I want to talk to you. So, if I can put the microphone on you, sir. And I said to people, when I started out 4 years ago, I started filming the Sudanese protests when there was an uprising. I'm back again. It's like deja vu.
Yeah.
So if you let people know who you are you the chair of the Sudanese? See, I know everyone.
Hi,
who
everyone.
are you?
Hi, everyone.
Are you still the chair?
Nah, I'm the ex-chair now.
You're the former chair.
Yeah.
So tell me what's going on in Sudan.
Unfortunately, we are back to square one since we came for us in 2019. Unfortunately, there is a war now in Sudan. We started in 15th of April. Now 2 weeks between the army and the militia. And inside Khartoum, to be honest, it is chaos. And it's scary for our people. I have my family. They had to move from Khartoum to Omdurman because it's safe. What we need now, we need from the international community to intervene and call for urgent ceasefire, serious ceasefire, because we had 5 times now and didn't been successful. And we need as well to put serious pressure on the two sides to come to the negotiation and end up that fighting.
I can't believe I'm back here, but all I can say, thank you very much. I'm a bit late today. I've actually I've actually been down here. No. I've been down here since 12:30. I did the Black Lives Matter down at the I was at the Home Office for Black Lives Matter. And then I thought I'll come here because you're going to be here.
Anyway, you're welcome back again.
Big up.
We've been very supportive.
But now things have changed with me. I've got 6 people working for me, and I live stream now. But I've still got a camera, and I'm going to capture some singing.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, excellent. Thanks a lot. So let's go and catch some singing. So when I started all of this, like I said, it was for the Sudanese community. I was their main videographer.
هنجيب ديمقراطية هنجيب ديمقراطية هنجيب ديمقراطية هنجيب ديمقراطية نفتح شرف الحرية نفتح شرف الحرية لا لولا ديانة بتحكم لا لولا ديانة بتحكم وطنيتك تبقى حرية حرية سلام 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 حرية مدنية كمان مدنية مدنية سلام مدنية مدنية سلام مدنية مدنية سلام مدنية.
أيها السيدات والسادة، معنا هذا الشاب. هذا الشاب إيراني متزوج سودانية، وأتى إلينا من جبهة الإيرانيين لكي يناصرنا هذه الثورة. يناصرنا فلنحيي الشعب الإيراني، نحيي الشعب الفارسي، نحيي هذه الحضارة التليدة. فلتتفضلوا مع الأخ. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Eid Mubarak. My wife is from Sudan. They were there 3 weeks ago. Luckily, they left with my 2 kids and they came back, alhamdulillah, safe. But I see from both sides, we have the same problem. We have dictators, war criminals who are killing the people, and we need them gone for peace. And unfortunately, the people always suffer. It's always insan, al-nas, that suffers. And I'm looking forward to it. One day, we will see both our people, Sudan, Iran, we will be together, we will have leganat, we will have all those things that they have, and we will enjoy. And I want to say, fall Sudan, fall Sudan, fall. Himmeti to ICC. Al-Burhan to ICC. Himmeti to ICC. Al-Burhan to ICC. We are going to stop using Islam to harm people. This is not Islam. I want to say we have the same issue. You have RSF, we have IRGC. They're both terrorists. They need to be put on the list, and the UK needs to pay attention to this. And they need to put them both on the list, and we need to have peace in both Sudan and Iran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. Sudan! السودان يا إنسان UK public for Sudan UK public for Sudan السودان يا إنسان UK public for Sudan السودان يا إنسان انظر من في كل مكان انظر من في كل مكان السودان السودان
العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل
تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك بيجنا مع جنة بالبيت خالي الزيت بدينا ما بدينا تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك حتى الجيش عند الجيش حتى العسكر حتى التذكر حتى السيل حتى الحوزين حتى النوبة تمشي جنوبة حتى الضابط تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك مجلس كله ما عايزينه مجلس كله ما عايزينه يا برهان يا حمدان فريق الخلع زول الضلع ما عايزينه عايزين مدنية عايزين حرية تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك تنقي درنجي دريلا خش البنك
العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل
I got a message to Hamiti and Burhan. Like we put Omar Bashir in jail, we will put both of you in jail. You are not bigger than the Sudanese. You are not bigger than the Sudanese people. You will never be bigger than the Sudanese people. And you will never take charge because the Sudanese people will be over you and you will be in jail. Both of you will be in jail. I promise you that. I promise you that.
Down with the military in Sudan. Down with the military in Sudan. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? Peace and justice. When do we want it? Right now. What do we want? Peace and justice. When do we want it? Right now. What do we want? Peace and justice. When do we want it? Right now. What do we want? Stop the war in Sudan. 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 Stop the killing in Sudan. Stop the killing in Sudan. Stop the war in Sudan. Stop the war in Sudan. Stop the killing in Sudan. Stop the killing in Sudan. العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. العسكر للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. العسكر 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 للسكنات والجنجويد انحل. No militia, no Burhan. 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 Civil rule in Sudan. 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 No militia, no Burhan. 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 Civil rule in Sudan. Civil rule in Sudan. Civil rule in Sudan. Stop the war in Sudan. Stop the war.
Stop the war in Sudan.
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 Stop the killing 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 in Sudan.
Peace and justice for Sudanese.
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 Stop arming in Sudan.
Stop arming in Sudan.
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop the war 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 in Sudan. People are dying in Sudan. People are dying in
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop killing in Sudan.
Stop bombarding in Sudan. Stop bombarding in Sudan.
Stop bombarding in Sudan.
Stop killing innocent in Sudan. Stop killing women in Sudan.
Stop killing women in Sudan.
Stop killing children in Sudan.
So for all of you who are watching, we're going to be shutting down now. So we're now going to be closing down, and we're ending with the Sudanese protests. So we're now closing down. All I can say is that I will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Speaker's Corner. So we're back at 1 p.m. tomorrow at Speaker's Corner. So we're back 1 p.m. tomorrow at Speaker's Corner. So thank you for watching.
Peace, peace in Sudan. Peace, peace in Sudan.
Are you right?
Peace, peace in Sudan. عاش نضال الشعب السوداني.
How many people down there?
عاش نضال المرأة السودانية. عاش نضال شباب السودان.
How many? How many down there? 100? 50? 20?
الخزي والعار للكيزان.
Yeah, because I'm down at Parliament, so
يسقط تجار الدين. قتلوا الصفاحين.
There's thousands down there.
يسقط تجار الدين. War, stop the war in Sudan. Stop the war in Sudan.
Say that again?
Stop the war in Sudan.
Burhan to ICC. Himiti command to ICC. Burhan to ICC. Himiti command to ICC. والكيزان to ICC. Stop the war in Sudan.
Stop the war.
So thank you for watching, and I'm going to lock down now till 2 p.m. tomorrow. So I'm going to close down now until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Sorry, 1 p.m. Freudian slip. So thank you for watching and goodbye. I'm switching off. I'm going. So goodbye.
يا عزة دايرته دي الحالة